It's Saturday night, and welcome to Midnight's Edge After Dark. My name is Tom Connors. I'll be your host this evening. Hopefully some more people will be around shortly, but as for right now, it's just you and me, and we're going to talk about whatever comes to mind. So, yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about Gotham High. That's in the news. What's up, Matt G? What's up, Doug Kraus? Nice to see you. Culture Casino, how you doing? Yeah, it's been an interesting day, to say the least. I guess this thing actually dropped yesterday, and a few people have already talked about it. I've watched Yellow Flash's video on it. I haven't got a chance to watch Ryan Cannell's video on it yet. But this Gotham High thing, I mean, oh my goodness gracious. It was like, well, it's in the title, like DC saw what Marvel was up to and said, here, hold our beer. I mean, this stuff is just insane. We're going to talk a little bit about this and whatever comes up. Hopefully some more people will join me shortly. How you doing, Santa Claus and Twisted Mind Collision, sorry. Clone Captain Blasto, welcome. Howdy, everybody. Also, Congo, that's right. Don't forget the Congo. Well, happy birthday, Doug Kraus. Happy to hear that. Hopefully you've had a good one. Broadcasting live from Toronto. That's right, Mark O'Quist. Thank you for joining us here. Well, we've got a few people finally coming in. How you doing, William Jones? How's everybody doing on this Saturday night? Hopefully I'll get a few more people to come in and talk to. But yeah, we have got to talk about this thing here, this Gotham High business, and we will definitely talk about that here in a bit. But before we do, broadcasting, I still love that. Anyway, yeah, you guys doing well, hopefully. I hope everybody's doing okay with this situation we're all in here. It's just crazy. It's insane. Yeah, I mean, hopefully nobody's having any major issues because of it. I would hate to see that happen to anybody out there. I don't want anybody to have to lose any loved ones over this situation or anything like that. So hopefully everything has been going as smooth as possible for all you guys listening out there. And yeah, as you can see behind me here, this is what we're going to talk about here in a little bit. This business here, Congo. Hey, Matt G says, I'm at work, but I'll try to keep an eye on here too. Sorry about that. I'm not sure what you're sorry about. I'm just glad and happy that you're working. Sorry it's on a Saturday, but hey, in this day and age with everything going on, it's a good thing that you're working. That's the main thing. So, yeah. Batman, well, how you doing? Says, I always wondered what happened to shows. The CW declines. DC makes comics out of them. Yeah, this is like some nutty shit here. Hello, Mark Fields. How you doing? Hey, how you doing, Captain Robert April? I was watching Gary's video on this. Yeah, I didn't know he had the chance to do one yet. I didn't get a chance to watch that. Mecca says she'll be right there. She's just getting up for a nap. All right, I'll make sure you get the link for that. Willie, how you doing, Willie? Glad you stopped in, even if it was just to say hi. Yeah, everybody be sure to hit that like button, hit that share button, share it out on to the interwebs, whether you're on the Facebook or the Twitter or even Instagram. I've done some Instagram stuff in the past. I guess I have one, but I don't really use it. I don't know how, just like everything else. Anyway, so yeah, no problem there. We'll get Mecca in here, and I'm sure some other people will stop in too. So, yeah. So yeah, I got a few people I want to get in here who know more about comics than I do, because I used to be a big comic fan when I was a kid, but I fell out of a lot of that crap as it got crappier, and the multiple covers crap, the stuff that kind of killed comics in the 90s. I mean, then I just kind of got to a point where I concentrated more on things like graphic novels. I was really into movie adaptations. Like, oh shit, I got one right here. This one's one of my newer ones here. There's Mecca. Hey, Mecca, how you doing?
Hey, I was napping before I get my stream set up for later. If I do one, now I don't know if I want.
Well, I seen this new Warriors or Gotham High stuff after the
Same
new Warriors
shit. New
business.
Warriors, yeah.
I know, right? It's like, but yeah, I must have moved it. I was going to show something here, but well, I got this here. This is close enough. Well, this isn't a movie adaptation, but this is a reprint of the original Ninja Turtles. I got a lot of that kind of crap, you know. But anyway, yeah. So how you been other than nap? How you holding out?
I don't know. Some days are better than others.
I hear you there. But yeah, I sent out invite to a few people. Waiting to hear back on some. Some I have, but we'll see how it goes here. Rob's on another stream right now. So with the fourth wave, I didn't mean to stream over them. I actually pushed this a little farther back, but I got to get this in before shenanigans. So it's kind of like do it or not do it. So yeah.
I was like, okay, I gotta either nap or I gotta stream, and I was too tired to stream in the afternoon, so I probably either have to stream tonight or something, and then or tomorrow. And I'm like, I don't know, because like I was going Friday afternoons until the cards started, and then it like there's just no good time to not stream on top of people, and then I kind of have to stream when I'm in the mood too. So like scheduling them are a little bit difficult for me, like when I'm hosting. That's just me. Like, so they made Riverdale Archie's Batman.
Yeah, I'll show the preview here in a bit when we get a couple more people in here. I was really trying to get like Yellow Flash and a few other comic people in here to talk about it because I really want. I watched his video earlier, and I know a few other people have commented on this. Yeah, Rob's cheating on MEAD right now. He said he'd be in here as soon as he could.
I went in. Somebody sent me a video or a picture of it last night, and they're like, "Oh, you're gonna hate this." I'm like, "What? It looks like Archie's. I actually liked the Archie's." So
well, this doesn't look like Archie. This looks like that rip-off new Archie stuff they got.
Yeah, it's like Riverdale.
Yeah, like that kind of crap. And I guess this is anything new. Like Annabelle says, they're bringing back Gotham High. This is something they've done in the past. Well, shit, even Gotham was kind of about a teenage version of a lot of these characters. Yeah, pretty much. Matt G, thank you so much for the super sticker. Oh, I think I got the thing up. I can see what it was. Oh, it's a Doomicorn. Of course it is.
Corn.
They're sending us unicorns again. But yeah, I want to thank everybody so far who's come in and joined us. We got 60 plus watching. Be sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. YouTube's been this big thing with all the announcements and all that crap.
Well, it hides the live channels depending on what, like, I don't know.
That's what I've heard. Yeah. Well,
I don't know what. Sometimes they show up in my feed and sometimes they don't. So
well, like I guess because like Ryan Canal went live earlier, and a lot of people said it wasn't showing up in their sidebar, and then it was after a little bit. So we'll see. We'll see how if we go out. I mean, 56 is not bad. We lost a few for some reason. Maybe they saw my face and they're like, "Dear God." So
it's my fault. I said it didn't look as bad as it could. I mean, we already have Twilight as Batman. I mean, I can't be surprised. I knew a year ago that we were getting Robert Pattinson as Batman. So
right.
So you can't be too surprised about it. I mean, it's just sort of.
I don't know if I call it surprise so much. It's just like really? I think the title says it all. It's like DC said to Marvel, "Here, hold my beer, see what we can do." Now, to be fair, this is just a graphic novel, I guess. So it's not like an ongoing series.
Oh, it will be though. That's all they write these for. Like I think God, Ethan Van Sciver said this to me on a stream once, where they like write these just so they can pitch them as a series. They want to get in and out. They want to get their little quick buck so they can sell it as a series, because a high school kid eating or like drinking coffee, having their little relationship drama on their phone texting is super popular, and they're gonna probably sell this. I wouldn't be surprised to see this as a series in 2 years, just based on one book. So, because what else are they going to do? I mean, how many of these shows? Look at Batwoman. It's the second highest rated show on the CW, and it's terrible, and the ratings drop all the time. So
That's just because it has bat in the title, probably.
and that's why they tied this generic teenage drama shit to Gotham. I mean, this is not an original bone in the body. It is exactly the Archies. You've got the Selena here is basically Archie. She's basically the everyman Archie, and you've got Bruce, little Brucey boy as Veronica, and you got little girl Jack back there as Betty. I mean, that's all this is. This is just a demented Archie.
Yeah, I mean,
and I thought Jack was a girl when I first saw it. I'm like, oh, girl on girl stuff.
well, like I said, hopefully we can get some of the more comic people in here to talk about, because I really was not
impressed.
well, not just that, but I was really not that big of a comic fan after a while, so I don't know how much of this kind of stuff was done in things that have been done before and stuff like that. So, I mean,
yeah. Well, I can tell you it was done in the Archies to death.
Well, that kind of a thing, yeah.
Formula, but it's just
it's the
modern.
young teen thing, or YA or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, and I guess the writer is a YA writer. Riverdale's the demented Archie. Dark Shadow, I believe for sure. I have not watched it. Now, so my history with Archie is I had a Footlocker filled with Archie comics after about a year of collecting, and then some. I was I just collected everything from about like 1989 to 91, and it really I could tell you a thing or two about Archie up to about 91. So that's all this is. And they rebooted that one to hell over and over and over again. It's like they don't have these people who are making this Gotham thing don't have an original bone in their body. And then they got to cannibalize the characters that will sell because they're the most well-known DC characters, which I know I'm sick to death of. But
right. Well, and that's just it with this. It's just like, wow. Yeah, we want a Rob rant. Well, if he gets his ass in here, we probably will get one. So this is a very short trailer, so we're gonna have to break it up a little bit anyway. We'll watch it
just
now.
play it for like 3 seconds and then pause it.
Yeah, so
Gotham High.
Gotham. So Selena, she's black now. That's fine. We've had black Selena before, I guess.
But sometimes she looks white. So Bruce is 17.
Bruce is, and not only that, I think he's supposed to be Asian. Was another catch.
I'm more interested in the guy with the guitar behind him, to be honest.
And Jack Napier, of course, is most famously the name for the Batman '89 Joker.
See, what about the porn shop? Can we watch that cartoon? Or
too funny.
See, okay, stop right there. Go back to the kissing thing. Didn't that look like two girls?
It does, but that's Bruce, isn't it? That's supposed to be Bruce. Oh, Lord. And I mean, this isn't well, now it's worse than it was. Look at this. Holy shit.
Not that bad. I mean, it's just stupid and for teenagers.
Yeah, here she looks white, so I don't know.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm like, is she black? I mean, because she's any ethnicity you need to identify with as the viewer.
That's not foreshadowing anything there, or any of that. Look. Oh my god. I think I just threw up my mouth a little bit. Hang on. Wow.
And since, people like me need a big clue as to who these people are, I guess, since the audience is... So this is clearly... This just indicates to me, this one freeze frame right here, indicates this is for people who do not like comic books and do not like Batman or anything, but know enough about them to recognize the outlines and be like, oh, I've heard of the Batman guy. I've heard of Joker. I've heard of Catwoman. Okay, let's see what happens. This is for people who have no clue about what any of these characters are, other than they've heard of them.
Thank God we got some salvation here. Script Doctor, how you doing?
Hey, how's everybody doing tonight?
Do you need me to restart this shit, or do you know what this crap is?
Just slam
Oh,
it.
I know what this crap is.
Okay, sir.
Oh God. So they're trying to have YA high school CW stuff in a Batman comic.
You sound like you got a cold, sir, and I hope that's not a bad thing.
Oh, no, I've just been I've been out with the girlfriend and lots of conversations, so I might be just losing my voice.
I hope that's the case, so you don't go getting sick on us.
Yeah, so far no symptoms, which is good. And I hope it recovers because I gotta do my recording tomorrow.
But yeah, so this business dropped yesterday, and DC looked at Marvel and the Social Justice New Warriors and said, "Here, hold my fucking beer. Check this shit out."
Pretty much, yeah. Oh God. So I just don't understand the point. Like this, I think they tried to do something like this as a cartoon show like 10 years ago.
Yeah, this is not anything necessarily new, and like I pointed out, this is basically what Gotham was.
Yeah.
I mean, really, if you stop and think about it.
Yeah, it's Bruno Heller's really bad idea of just well, let's take a look at young Bruce Wayne and young Joker and young Selena Kyle, and now they're adding it in as a love triangle, which is weird because I don't think Bruce and the Joker love each other, so that incompletes the triangle.
In this version,
Yeah, I guess in this version they do. And all I can't help but think is like, shouldn't Bruce Wayne be, overseas learning how to be a detective and fighter and stuff right now? Why is he still in high school?
Yeah, he's in high because he got kicked out of a boarding school.
Oh no, a rich guy gets kicked out of a boarding school. There aren't others. He's not on his mission right now to.
Yeah, that's not cliche as fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, it just shows a very terrible lack of imagination and ideas on DC's part.
And let's face it, if he really was a real rich kid like that, he would not go to public school exactly in a disguise. He would get homeschooled. Because they would not risk the bullshit.
Security.
The bullshit that comes around with him being the last heir to the Wayne family fortune, right? And Melissa De La Cruz, I don't know who that is, but sadly,
Like,
the New York Times bestselling
adult
author is like a dime a dozen, so it doesn't really mean anything to have that title.
Yeah, from what my understanding of it, you just have to finish and complete a book that more than 5 people buy.
Well, it's not necessarily people. It's again like with movies. It's with just distributors. How many bookstores are going to buy your book to sell? And not only that, the New York Times bestseller has like I think over 150 subcategories for genre and type genre.
She's a nearly 50-year-old.
Oh, she's 50 writing this shit? I thought this was like a 25-year-old.
No, she's 48.
Okay, so she's a creepy pedo.
She's Filipino.
So she's a creepy pedo who likes teenagers. Got it.
Her biggest claim to fame is some shit called Alex and Eliza, The Witches of the East End, The Van Ellen Legacy, and The Misguided Angel. These are like her top books that come up.
That first title sounds like an 80s adult film.
These are all like really cheap. I could probably just bring it here so you guys can see what I'm looking at.
They're just not getting these good writers. I mean, you've got your Zoe Quinns and all these garbage people that they're hiring at these companies. At
Yeah,
least
this
this
looks
woman has written something and isn't just a giant piece
well,
of trash. I mean,
but none of this screams she should be writing fucking Batman.
no, this is romance fantasy girl stuff. I mean,
Yeah, 29 dates.
yeah, this is girl stuff. This is Archie stuff. She should be writing Archie comics. She should not be writing Batman. Pride and Prejudice, then another version of Pride and Prejudice. So she's just a copy and paste writer.
I don't recognize any of these motherfucking books.
Neither do I, and I work in publishing.
Yeah, I mean,
Are
is she
they
supposed to be a
even-
bestseller of what?
Are they digital?
Most of
Only?
them probably, but she ended up on the bestseller list somehow.
Yeah, but if you Google how many categories are on the New York Times bestseller list, it's gonna kind of blow your mind. There's a lot. I mean, there are like comic books are on the New York Times bestseller list. There's a couple of subcategories for comic books.
Well, here's the thing.
She worked
I
on
get
Blue
more views
Bloods.
than Star Trek's official. Star Trek's official page. So keep that in mind too. Like, we're in a day and age where
She's
like
worked
New
on
York Times
Blue
bestsellers
Bloods.
and official shit doesn't really matter anymore because everything's so niche and niche. Ugh.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Oh, for fuck's sake. I mean, granted, to quote Miss Brie Larson, this shit's not for me. I get it. But who is this shit for? I mean, really?
It's for girls. It's for girls flipping through the spinners at the grocery stores, and you're gonna trick them into buying this instead of their Archie comics. Sorry,
actually
it's
it's
for
for
girls.
between 8 and 14-year-old girls.
Yeah, exactly. That's the
A
age
really
I was
narrow
when I was
age.
in Archie.
He doesn't have friends. He has followers.
He doesn't have friends because he's a
Gross.
douche.
Bruce Wayne does not care about social media.
Why
or
is
himself.
Jack Napier going through the fucking garbage?
He's poor. That's what
And
poor
people
people do.
are liking it, no less. Oh my god. And here she looks black again. Oh my god. My
It's so
girl
that any
game
of
is no
these-
joke.
No, it's just so that people
Chat,
can
where you
insert
at?
themselves
Stop
into it.
messing with this Joker, Selena. Too funny and hot. Oh my god.
See, that looks like a girl right there.
Selena never had anything with the Joker.
Nope.
No, this is just stupid fanfic shit where they're like, "Oh, well, I always wanted Catwoman to hook up with the Joker."
What the
Like, well, I
It's
don't
a
give
very
fuck.
derivative story template.
What the fuck? What the hell is this shit? Are we being punked? Are we being punked?
It feels
What?
like we are.
My question is, why the hell do they want 8-year-old girls to buy comic books so badly? Why can't boys buy comics? Why can't they make comic books for boys? Why? I don't want to buy comic books. I don't. I'm a grown woman. I don't want to buy comic books. You know who I want to buy comic books? Boys, guys. I want guys to buy comic books. Last time I checked, guys like tits and ass and adults and, superheroes and power fantasy and
I'd rather have a comic of Joe Exotic.
I'd rather have a comic of that porn shop in the back. At least it'd be interesting. I mean, come on. Gotham City prostitutes, Gotham City sex shop. There's your comic.
You two quit fighting over me.
Hey,
It's a
DC.
female fantasy that just
Hey, DC, if you're out there hiring people, and since you already hired former porn stars who stole $85,000 from people, you know what? Maybe hire me and I'd work cheaper than them. Maybe hire me and I'll write Gotham City porn shop and I'll make it the funniest fucking thing that you've ever seen. And it'll actually sell, or you could keep pandering to 8-year-old girls who don't have money and who are too interested in taking their mom's cell phones and putting on makeup on themselves with their little apps. Nobody's buying comic books the way they used to, and you can keep trying to find your little demographic all you want, but at the end of the day, you don't have comic books in grocery stores, you don't have them in 7-Elevens, you don't have them in anywhere where new audiences are going to give a fuck about finding them, because I'm certainly not going to drag my ass into an intimidating comic book store with a bunch of geeks and a bunch of stuff that I'm not comfortable with if I'm a normie. right? If I'm just somebody getting into this, it's intimidating. It's like going into a dispensary the first time or going into any sort of thing where it's such an expertise fandom.
Well, you're not wrong, because Gary's brought that up too, where he doesn't like the gatekeepingness, or however you want to put it, of some of the comic book shops, to where they are very intimidating. And it's not just because you're a woman, it's anybody. If you come in the door and you don't seem to know what you're looking for or know anything, they will discourage any newcomers right off the bat. And that is the worst possible, thing you can do. And Gary knew that, and he said that he discouraged that practice. In fact, he would encourage people to come in and read comics, and potential customers were always a thing for him. And that's why he's probably so successful at what he's doing now, is because he understands that you can't discourage a newcomer. You can't have somebody come in and go, well, I think some of the things that you're doing are interesting, but I don't like your opinion on this, or I don't like what you're doing, and going, oh, shut the fuck up and like it, or you just get the fuck out. That's not going to get you a customer.
Yeah, exactly. There's no value in being so exclusive that nobody can enter anymore. Not in these days. You can't survive on that.
Exactly. And they're like doubling down on that with all this and I mean, they're blowing up people's Twitters and shit. And
oh yeah, they're fighting with people. They're out there calling and attacking people. I'm like, dude, I am certainly like, my first interaction with any of these like Marvel and DC actual official people was getting blocked by people like Gail Simone before I ever heard of her fat ass, and getting harassed by people like, the JDAs out there who are out there saying, oh, you need to be Christian and this and this and this. And okay, I'm not fine. You convinced me. I'm never going to buy a comic book again. Thank you. I'm not going to buy them from the people in Comicsgate. I'm not going to buy them from anybody else because I don't want that drama. And you just are pissing off customers by being childish and petty with all your bullshit. I'm sorry.
Well, I wanted to get on
this. Simone can get her fat ass on Twitter and beg people to come back and say, oh, here, we want everybody's opinions. So fuck you. Fuck you. I'm tired of your shit.
No, I don't disagree with you, but this was one thing. I mean, do we really think this is worse than Safe Space and Snowflake? Not really. No. Not in my, or actually I would say, yes, it is worse, because you're taking characters that people know and you're doing this with it. Actually,
yeah.
I think this one's better, but keep in mind, I don't really like Batman past the 60s. So.
Well, here's my thing is, like, how do I want to put this? This is more destructive to an existing property, in my opinion, because nobody really knew who the new Warriors were before the new Social Justice Warriors came to be anyway. And just like I've kept trying to say to people, the Children of the Atom is a bigger travesty than the Social Justice Warriors, because everybody's gonna forget about them. They look like the parody that everybody's treating them, so nobody's taking them seriously. But they are seriously starting to screw around with a lot of the past stuff, and I get it. This is just a fucking graphic novel, and where was it? Somebody brought this up. Here it is. Steven Anderson said they make this stuff so it can eventually be sold to libraries. For example, my kid found Little Gotham at his school library. Yeah, there's been a ton of people like Gary and them have all talked about the whole Scholastic program. That's a big deal for the comic industry.
Just sell us stuff. We didn't get free stuff.
Exactly, but that's how they make some of their money. Is they make this kind of shit that can go through Scholastic. So that's a paycheck, because they're desperate. And thank you, Culture Casino, for the Doom Accord.
Maybe they should hire people like us who get out there. Oh no, wait, I'm blocked by all of them. So fuck them.
Go write a bunch of YA novels, then they will.
Actually, I've got a link I'll put in the private chat for Mecca if you want to write something. CW has an option to do it.
Yeah, I'll do it
from me, or they'd be like, "No, fuck her. I'm blocked by everybody, so there's no chance in hell."
Oh no, they can't block you through this. This is their open thing program. So as long as you're a U.S. citizen, you have a resume, personal statement, you submit a spec script, and sign their submission agreement. And
see, there's how to get you. If you send them that, though, are they gonna just steal it from you? Do I have to go through all kinds of copyright and stuff that I don't know? So I'm white trash retail employee. I have no education and no skill set. I probably don't qualify.
No, but you're a member of the Alphabet Person. You've got a history of complaining about the disenfranchisement of these characters and franchises. So that's already two boxes.
I'm on the wrong side of it, and I'm the one who'd be like, wait. You're hiding behind a label like that's your entire fucking personality? Are you stupid?
Yeah,
throw me out the door in a heartbeat. Yeah.
The trick to the spec script, if you're worried about them like quote stealing it, because they don't actually do that. They just say like there's a possibility the subject matter is identical. Like that's as best
Yeah,
they
see,
can do.
that's how
Because
they
if it's
get you.
line for line, no, it's not even how they get you. Because if it is line for line, then it's a violation on their own contract. So yeah, you just go ahead and write a Batwoman spec script. Just reuse one of their plots. Just write
I
it
don't
your
even
own
know
way or
anything
what
about
have you.
Batwoman, to be honest. Like, that's the thing. I
You
don't
probably
like
know
comic
more about
books.
this show than most people do. Just
I don't
writing a
know
bunch
anything
of
about
Leslie stuff.
Batwoman. I like, okay, I didn't know that Jack was the Joker.
Just
Okay, that's
have
how
them.
little I care about
Just
Batman.
well, it depends on which Joker. That's the thing. It's so
No, I
confusing.
don't know
That's the
anything
problem.
about these characters. I only like the Joker because it has nothing to do with Batman. Like the last time I watched the Batman 60s
Oh, you mean the movie? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care about these I mean, maybe that'll get me in the door. Hey, I hate these characters and I hate everything about comic books. Give me a comic book.
Oh, compared to this, yeah, because Jack Napier, that was the name most famously used in the '89 Batman. But there's been a few different names that Joker's gone by.
Yeah,
That's what I was saying.
that's
Yeah,
my
Same with
point. I
Mr.
don't care.
Freeze.
yeah, I know you don't give a shit, but I'm just saying. Yeah, I can see where your confusion would come in there, but
Oh, it's
I
not so
get
much
it.
confusion. I mean, they're drawing him looking like a girl. I mean,
Oh,
what am I
that
supposed
part.
to do?
I see what they're doing, and it's really fucking ridiculous. It's to the point where we've gotten this. It's so on the nose type shit, where even if I was to go pitch something like Script Doctor's talking about, like I can't believe this is the shit that's making it through because it is so on the nose.
It's also make me wondering how bad is everything else that they're getting that they would pick this above that. And I mean, just look at the animation. It's so like early '90s fashion and lame. Like you got Joker in the wife beater, and then the plaid shirt with the sleeves ripped off, and he's got like the undercut hair, and that's not a style I see around with kids. And I've got 3 grandkids that are sorry godchildren that are still in high school, and they don't dress like this type of stuff. It's so antiquated.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the Australian $5, Sister Harrow. She sends us a little sticker with the I can't remember what those creatures are called. A boos. No, it's not a fox, it's something else. They got the boofy little tail. A boosh or something or other. Saying hi, yeah. Thank you so much for that. This is just Riverdale and Twilight mixed with Batman characters. Absolute ass. Yeah, that's pretty much what Mecca said too, to offset. It's revolting, really. I mean,
Is
I keep saying,
nurse Dr. Leslie Tompkins?
yeah, right. I mean, I keep saying,
Guidance
I get
counselors Alfred.
this shit isn't for me, but who is it for? That's the big question. Because
Exactly. Well, okay, when I was a kid buying Archie comics, I would have flipped through the spinners, saw it had DC on the side, and put it back because I don't want superheroes in my high school drama. And I mean, of course, it's Batman. Nobody actually have superpowers or any of that shit. But still, I don't want all of these established characters littering up something else.
well, and that's the point. What is the purpose? And this goes to the heart of everything we keep noticing when it comes to these revamps and redos and remixes or whatever the fuck you want to call them. How in the world is this supposed to get anybody on board with anything? What is the point of using these said characters unless you want to get people involved who are obviously Batman fans, and all you're going to do is enrage them? And as far as kids go, there's much more cooler Batman shit that kids, even at this age group that they're aiming at, would be wanting to get into than this shit.
Well, yeah, they're going to look at the Lego Batman movie and want those characters. They're going to want to look at, and as much as I didn't like it because it's not for me, that's what they want. A lot of people really, really enjoyed that, and they're going to want.
But is this even for the CW crowd? Even like Mecca, you've watched some of the Batwoman shows. I mean, does this kind of sink in with that kind of shit?
Yeah, just the talking. I mean, well, they didn't show anything other than a couple of seconds. Like CW Batwoman is just, she's trying to. This is me trying to make sense of the story. So I guess it's about a girl whose parents did some shit, and she's got like a stepsister she has to connect with, and then a real sister she's estranged from who's a crazy murderer. So it's like a sister drama. It's a family sister drama.
Yeah, Jesus.
That's
No.
all it really is. It's there. I don't I mean, I think that's probably why I can kind of tolerate it, because it really doesn't have that much to do with superheroes. To be
Well, and I've
honest.
heard more than enough people say this feels like it's nothing more than like a pilot
Yeah.
pitch for a CW show. What do you say
Yeah.
to that, Script Doctor?
Oh yeah, it's basically a repurposed pilot pitch of something that didn't make it. I mean, um, the entire CW mentality towards superheroes and other genres of the like they're kind of messing around with Riverdale right now. Like that's the whole Archie series. That whole approach of taking the 90210 Melrose Place type of drama and apply it to superheroes was pioneered by Alfred Goh and Miles Miller, and it's just really made an impact, and not a negative, not a positive one in my opinion, on the whole genre. And like they're the ones that first started doing the whole like race swapping of the characters. Pete Ross ended up, who was originally like a blonde kid with freckled eyes, was played by a young black actor. Lana Lang, who was supposed to be a ginger, was replaced with Kristen Crook, who still hasn't learned how to project her voice, so she still whispers all the time. Um, it's kind of what they do, and they're just taking that model and moving forward with it, and it sells well to the I guess the teeny bopper crowd, the 8 to 15s, because kids want to know what it's like to be older and what conflicts they're going to face, and the drama that comes with it, and they think it's all going to be cool, and then when they get there they realize no, it's life isn't like this. That's when they drop out of the show, and the ones that don't are the ones that don't sort of grow up mentally beyond what that show teaches. So that's why we get characters like, especially in Batman and in the rest of the Arrowverse, where the actors are playing roles or are playing these hero characters as if they're teenagers, but they're in their 30s. It's making fun of the same joke that Scary Movie did.
Well, and that's why I say, I mean, I can agree, at least by looking at this, like I can see this almost being a backdoor pilot of sorts. Like if this thing sells well, this looks like something they would just plop right on the CW just because it screams CW. And it's
Yeah.
like they can get away with using Bruce Wayne as long as they don't put him in a bat suit. Like that was the whole thing with Gotham. And I mean, it takes me back to my whole thing. I'm sick of superhero shows without the superhero. I don't want a Batman show without Batman. I don't want a Superman show without Superman. I mean, Smallville drugged me along for 10 fucking years and was one of the worst endings in series history, if you ask me, simply because they just didn't give us what we've been waiting so long for. I mean, how hard is that? I mean, it's like a prom date who will take you all the way up to that point and then just be like, no. You know?
Gotta go home. Gotta go hang out with my friends. Thanks for everything. Yeah. Well, yeah, like Smallville in itself. I mean, John Schneider left that show because it wasn't going in any direction that made sense. The whole idea was it was about a kid discovering. He already had his identity, but it's discovering more to build onto that and seeking out parental advice. And then they ended up making it some sort of freak of the week thing. Then they kept on bringing more of the Lex Luthor family involved into it. And then the parents kind of got sidelined a lot. And then the kid was constantly rejecting. And this is the one thing you don't do with superheroes, is you don't give them a destiny that clearly telegraphs that yes, they have to become a superhero and have them rejected. That's not how you do it, because well, then you already know, yes, they're eventually going to come to the realization that they have to be a hero. And if they're doing it because of destiny, they're not doing it out of choice. So they're now a slave to the destiny, as opposed to an active character that's making a personal risk to themselves. Even if for Superman, who's risking not having a normal life, he's going to be living two very distinct lives, trying to be human and then having the responsibility of the powers he has. And that's where you get some of the drama from him. But if you make it a destiny, it's like, no, I'm doing this because my dead dad told me I have to. So now he's no longer a hero. He's just a slave to the whims of a ghost. And how is that supposed to be inspirational and heroic?
And I like the idea of Smallville, don't get me wrong, at first glance. And like a few people pointed out, it started out good. But yeah, it got into, like you said, the freak of the week, monster of the week type of deal. Then you had these convoluted, like, it was almost like a precursor to the Green Arrow show with all the weird family dynamic bullshit. And then I got sick and tired of every week somebody getting off of murder because Clark Kent vouched for them and they had some kind of alien problem that got him out of it.
Exactly. And
I mean, it just got
when you
convoluted.
watch Smallville and then you go back and you watch something like Lois and Clark: The Real Adventures of Superman, it's done so much better than Smallville, and it hits a lot of some of the similar issues that Clark is facing. Like, he wants to have a normal life, but he also wants to help people because he can. Um, the fascinating thing that I find whenever I see a new writer tackle Superman, is that they most often forget the idea that Superman was sent to Earth as a lifeboat to be saved. He wasn't sent here to save us. If he was, someone from Krypton would have done that before the planet blew up, like eons before. Like it's basically a no other choice. Where's a planet? Where's a place that I could send a child who has nothing and nobody and no food that would survive without me? And Earth was that 1 in a million planet. And that was just based on the concept that they have no idea what would happen to this kid, but they know he'd be alive and he'd be safe. And it just so happens he was very lucky to have found the Kents and then was raised right. And once he realized what he could do, he's like, well, listen, this planet saved me from an annihilation like my ancestors and my whole race. So what better way to kind of repay that than to try and save them from the things that they can't save themselves from? And there's your heroic journey and arc, and the commitment to what he does. He's paying back, even though he doesn't have to. He's paying back humanity for existing to be able to take care of him, take care and save him.
Yeah.
And the fact that they missed that point, they're like, no, he's sent here to save us. It's like, no, he wasn't. That's just a happy byproduct of these chaotic actions. Otherwise, you're wondering, okay, so then if Krypton is so benevolent, or at least this scientist is, why didn't other Kryptonians send babies to other planets to be saved beforehand? What is the story as to why Krypton doesn't have a space fleet beforehand? Why were they isolationists and xenophobes? And why was it only
Well, that was the
Jor-El?
thing, is the more they introduced more elements of Krypton and other things into Smallville, it just kind of went wonky. So,
and then they got like Callum Blue to play Zod, and he's like not the general, he's a major.
Well, they had a whole bunch of weird, stupid shit start happening there, and that's when it started getting into that convoluted, like, soap
the
opera
desperation
shit.
of trying to make a show. Yeah, and the funny thing is the reason that it lasted so long is because the CW does a repackaging deal for international distribution. They sell it for about 10 to 15 times what it's actually worth, which pays for future seasons to allow them to keep selling it over and over. Same thing happened with Greg Berlanti's doing that with his Arrowverse, which is why even though the ratings are terrible, shows like Batwoman, Superman, or Superwoman, Supergirl should not be renewed at all. But we're getting another season of these two shows.
That one's like the second highest rated CW show, though.
At like what, 400,000 viewers?
Yeah,
there.
Yeah, actually, because I was looking, every time I do a video, it's like only the second one that pops up. It's like Supergirl, then Batwoman, and everything else is just like trickling. I think it has been a while since I have, but it seems like the last time I made a video on that.
I'm just looking forward to the Venture Brothers making fun of them for season 8, because they already did a little bit of that with their the Green Arrow character they made fun of, who shoots foots, and he's like always awkward and can't be confident in his conversations, which is like making fun of Steve Amell's acting choice for the Green Arrow. I'm like, oh, that's so brilliant. That Venture Brothers is way too good for us. But
we got a super chat here though, from a fellow Canadian of yours, Script Doctor, $5. Dag the Gnome. Why are they doing this with Bruce Wayne when they are established teenaged characters in Detective Comics canon? Dick Grayson, Barbara Gordon, etc. I know, it's just stupid.
Oh, there was talks a while ago for a Dick Grayson TV show.
I've attention to it forever.
What was that?
Sorry.
What was that, Mecca?
I was just saying, like, what is the canon anyways? Like, this is why I didn't even mention it in my video, because, like, I don't even know what the canon is for these superheroes, because you've got so many different versions and shit. Like, okay, well, I had, like, 3 Catwomen on the 60s show, so I don't care what their names are. Past Catwoman or Joker, basically. I don't care what their identities are outside of their characters. I think as most normies don't.
Well, it's... again, it all goes with the whole point of who are they making this for? Because it's not going to bring in anybody who is a new fan, as far as like, if this is really what you're trying to sell and get new Batman fans, this is going to disappoint them. as far as like established Batman fans, they're going to look at this and throw up all over the goddamn thing. So again, this goes with everything else we see with these kind of things. Who the fuck are you making this for? Because it doesn't make any sense. If you want to do this shit, just make something original. You know, I mean,
but the marketing department will say, no, we can't sell this.
Exactly.
It's
that's the
it's the catch-22 or the infinite
yeah. That's the problem. And here we get stuck with shit like this. I mean,
yeah, I call that the infinite loop of bad commerce. It's risk averse and just build off of what people already know. And it used to be of the time where the stuff you build off of what people already know is just your story structure, your basic premise of good versus evil, or a coming of age story, or what have you. That's what people know, and then you just slot in more original characters to take those stories in different directions with different types of conflict, and that's what made it fresh and inviting of a new audience. But it doesn't get to that point now. It's got to be, no, we have to have similar structure of plot, we have to have similar familiar characters, names have to be familiar so you can market it faster, because people just don't have time to sit down and take 90 seconds to get hooked into a new product.
Right. And that's the thing, is if it the cleverness of this is kind of lost if you don't already know who these characters are. I mean, look at this cover behind me here. They got bats and shit all over it. The other bit we had in the trailer actually has their shadows, like we pointed. I mean, again, who are you going to impress with this? Who?
But like I said,
I don't know, but if they don't do a comic issue about the high school having a bat problem because they're like flying in through the vents during class, then you're not having fun with the concept. You're just giving us a template teen angst drama with superhero characters that you're going to be asking yourself, how the hell do these characters grow to become the heroes we recognize that made them last for 80 years?
Right, and then they gotta give them all these modernisms, like the whole, this shit, the Instagram crap, and
this is clearly written by somebody who doesn't understand teenage. This is like me trying to write something for a teenager. I wouldn't understand what the crap they do. I mean, maybe I might have a little bit more understanding because I am on the internet all the time, but what, they couldn't use TikTok, they gotta use like Instagram. And
don't kids play hopscotch anymore?
No. But again, the thing that everybody keeps pointing out is when Bruce is at this point in his life, he's already gone, pretty much, or he's off, doing his
he's
thing.
off in France getting taught by one of the world's greatest detectives at that time, or he's in Malaysia learning some sort of crazy mind technique or mind disciplinary technique, or martial arts, or something to be connected to nature and being observable. He's not going to high school, let alone a public high school, and dealing with stuff he would say was so beneath his priorities right now because his parents are dead and he kind of grew up too fast. So the drama of high school should not impact him in any way. He should be like, really, that's your issue today? Like, grow up, leave me alone. I've got studies. I got my studies.
No, and I get this classy cannabis. I'm not trying to argue this, and I'm not even saying it shouldn't necessarily exist or anything like that, and I don't want to push that kind of an ideal or anything.
I don't think it should. I think it's just a cheap ripoff of something else.
No problem.
If they want to write it, they can write their own thing.
That's my biggest problem. It's like, actually, in fact, this is already kind of a thing.
It was already a thing. They've already had one.
Not just that, like you said, Mecca, almost to a point in so many words in a roundabout way. If you want to do stuff like this, why isn't this lady writing for Archie? That obviously seems to be what she wants to do.
This is written for people who don't like Batman or Batman characters, but like Archie. You have your classic love triangle. This is Archie. It's just gender swapped Archie. That's all it is.
Right?
It has nothing to do with Batman.
And I'm not
the only reason I made a video on it because it's just like Archie, and I've read a shit ton of Archie.
Right. And I'm not trying again to say, but
and like I said, when I was a kid going through the spinners at 7-Eleven, I would have seen this. I would have probably picked it up for about a second. I would have said, oh, this is DC. Fuck this. Put it back on the shelf. I didn't want superheroes when I was 10 years old.
You crinkle your nose and go, they're just trying to be Archie. This is dumb.
It's like, yeah, this is just Batman version of Archie. I already have Archie. What do I want Batman's ripoff of it for?
Exactly. Why would you
It's
want a generic version of both things?
Yeah, and it's a really bad type of approach of cross formatting a genre. It's like, okay, so superheroes in high school. Ugh, yeah, all right, fine. Like comparatively, as I mentioned earlier, Lois and Clark is basically a workplace comedy as your setting, and then they put superhero elements behind it. But they do one thing further, which is they take that love triangle story and make that the thing that runs the show. So it's all about the characters as adults trying to do what they're doing. And that first season is really good, and then unfortunately seasons 2 through 4 kind of go towards this comic book level because Deborah Joy Levine was asked to leave the show, which is a bad move in my opinion.
Please, God, Lord, Gary, save me from this. Tell me what the fuck is going on here.
This is the end, man. This is the end. It's all over. This is I don't know. It's kind of harmless because it's YA, right? Isn't it a book?
Yeah, it's a
It's not a
graphic
comic book.
novel. But as we've been just pointing out for like the last 10 minutes, what is the point of this? You're not going to get any Batman fans on board. It makes no sense, or the jokes make no sense if you're not a Batman fan already. Kids aren't going to get on board with this. And if they do, they're going to be disappointed if they move into other Batman and see that that's nothing like Archie. You know,
This is the product of people who do not understand fandom and don't understand comics. We were talking about last night with Ripa, and he pointed me to, and I don't want to pick on the young lady or anything. You can find her on LinkedIn, but please don't throw any shade or anything. But you could see the VP of marketing at Warner Brothers, and it's like a 25-year-old girl.
well, the lady who wrote this is a 40-year-old, 8-year-old something. I don't know what you
Young
call a
adult
book
novelist.
writer. If you can call it that, they look like Amazon novels for.
Yeah, and dude, I have no answer. Nobody's going to buy this, but maybe it'll get in with Scholastic because Scholastic has made some inroads in comic book industry and artificially been inflating a lot of the numbers. And yeah, this reeks of oh my god, it's what you said, Mecca, a couple of years ago. This is the Twilight effect. I mean, we're still feeling it 10 years later, 11 years later. It's like, go away. It doesn't even sell.
This type of concept feels like it would fit right in with Tom King's like Batman on Vacation with Selena run.
Yeah.
That
hey,
put my god kid to sleep, and then I tweeted about it and he blocked me.
how do you feel about that? You're a writer, script doctor. It's in your name. So I've always hated the term YA writer. I mean, that just means like I can't write for adults. I'm incapable, or it means kids are stupid and we're going to write down the kid.
I always took it as the approach being that these writers think kids are stupid.
Yeah.
Kids. I mean, Gary, you have a couple of kids.
Yep.
Tom, I know you have a son. I have some god kids. One thing I've learned while being involved with their upbringing is that kids admire the concept of being an adult, and they want to know what that's like, and they kind of want to grow up a lot faster than they're prepared for. And you don't do that by you encourage that a little bit by showing them responsible adult characters doing things that you hope meet within your lines of how you want to raise your kids. You don't want to write for kids because you're technically talking down to them.
Yeah.
And that doesn't help them grow. That just keeps them in a form of arrested development. So whenever I see like young adult novels like the Twilight series or 50 Shades of Grey, even though it's a little bit more risque, it's really a young adult novel. It just makes me roll my eyes because I'm thinking of books that were written kind of for kids, but with something a bit more profound, like the story The Chrysalids, which is about kids who, after a post-apocalyptic world, some of them develop mutant telepathic powers or other physical mutations, and they're trying to hide this from their folks, and they're growing up and understanding the realities of discrimination to this and where they're going, and they have to run away when they're found out. And it is done far more maturely than anything you get now from a young adult novelist or a show that decides, yes, we need to show our superheroes in their 30s acting like 14-year-olds crying because their parents tell them no. Like how is this supposed to be encouraging to our young people if we give them content that doesn't actually challenge who they are? Because that's what kids like. They like a challenge, even though they hate the difficulty. When they overcome it, they're super excited and they're like, their ego's inflated and they're like, yes, I can actually do stuff. Maybe I can actually, stand on my own 2 feet without my parents having to hover around me.
Well, thankfully they're not reading this stuff. I think it's written for, 40. I won't pin this on the female class. I'll say 40-year-old people, and I'll just leave it at that. A certain type. I don't think it's made for kids.
women.
Yeah,
I think
I don't want to be offensive, but Mecca, like, hey, none of us are reading YA novels when we were kids. They didn't exist.
No.
There was like Where the Red Fern Grows, but they would probably consider that adult nowadays because it makes you cry at the end and it's very difficult. So we wouldn't want our kids crying.
Got real feels in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I read YA stuff. I still need to finish these. I like her books a lot. She does kind of like The Exorcist meets Mean Girls stuff. Daniel Vega. Why can't they get her on some of this? But
yeah,
that's, it is.
Have
She
her
probably
write
makes too much money where she doesn't need to go on those.
have her write Zatanna.
Well, I got to bring up. Oh, go ahead, Gary.
No, you go ahead, man.
I was going to say, Mark C. brought this up, and we brought this up before too, but I want to hear your take on it. That and the Scholastic thing I brought up as well. So, if you want to expand on that, because I did bring up that you were just talking about that too. About that's probably a good reason why some of this shit exists. But Mark C. sent $5. Says, why would billionaire Bruce Wayne be in public school? That's what we kept saying at the start too. You would not have a billionaire kid in a public school, plain and simple. There's too many logistical problems. But yeah, what's your take on that? And then you can embellish a little bit about the whole Scholastic program.
It makes no sense to me. I mean, just on first sight, when I first heard this, it sounds like a repurposed story. They just had a story and they or the author had an idea and she just threw in Joker. It's Joker, right? Joker and Bruce and
Jack Napier, no less.
Jack Napier. Yeah. Mark C is brilliant, by the way. So yeah, the Scholastic thing is basically another prop up of a very deficient comic book industry that's been artificially propped up for decades now. And I don't want to bore with details, but comic book retailing should have gone away 10 years ago. Like it should be dead right now. The digital has been held back by the comic book retailers, and I'm one of them. I am a person who helped keep it at because it's supposed to be cheaper. Like digital comics should be cheaper. The reason it's not is because of comic book shops. The reason,
I remember you talking about this. Yeah,
that is solely our responsibility. We flexed our muscles and they threatened all kinds of crazy shit, and they bent the knee. And now they have their out. Also, there's one distributor, and now we're seeing what happens to an industry when you only have one thing distributing. It doesn't work at all, ever. And what DC just came out today, I don't know how the hell they're going to do this. I had to read the article twice. They're going to work with multiple distributors to try to, they're still working. They're full steam ahead. They're going to make comics. And
what about hashtag pencils down?
It's not DC and not Marvel. They're making stuff, and they're looking for stuff around Diamond. I don't know. It's a plan right now that they just said we have a plan. We're not sure how we're going to do it. They're going to try to get stuff to open comic shops, but it's going to leave a lot of comic shops. I mean, they're done. They're dead.
I was going to say, you think this is just a last gasp at this point?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, unless this thing is being overblown and we're all back to work in a couple weeks, which
it's unlikely.
So.
It doesn't look like it, because every day it seems to get worse and worse and worse. And yeah, at this point, I think comic shops are on the block, man. I don't think you guys are wrong. I don't think you're being hyperbolic. I think you're right on the money. I think comic shops, card shops, any kind of hobby stores are the first ones that are going to get hurt. The theaters are going to get hit, but the mom and pop theaters are the only ones who are going to die out. They're the only ones that are going to have a problem. Anybody like an AMC, all that kind of shit, they're not going anywhere.
Yeah,
and I love all these. Go ahead. Go ahead, Script Doctor.
I keep on thinking of the Steve Martin remake of Sergeant Bilko, where he's going to his troops and saying he has a plan and he's nervous and he doesn't even spell plan right on the board. I think that's what the comics industry is right now, and a lot of other industries.
We've got a plan that says plain. I don't care.
Or it says pound or something. Yeah, like it's just that speech. And they're just waiting for that one kid to be like, to raise their hand, like, wait, I got an idea. And it's like, no one's in the room to be doing that because they haven't hired people that, sadly enough, were qualified enough to even get in the army. And it seems like with some of these decisions.
Well, I don't want to get too deep into this, and welcome, Rob. Finally, you're late.
I was washing my hands.
I know you're busy for
you can't
20
be
hours.
Too careful.
And by the way,
look at this. I step away for a minute, and you replace me with Gary.
I had to. He's got a better beard.
Yeah, he does. He does.
No, I don't
Yeah.
know about that. Hi,
So
Rob.
somebody once asked me, "Hey Gary, what's going on?" Somebody once asked me, "How much older do you think you'd look with a beard?" I said, "Maybe 5 years." Really? That mean? Yeah, that's how long it would take me to grow one. I mean, jeez.
I tell you, just grow a mustache and get a red hat, and you'll be getting kids mobbing you down the street. You'll be signing
See,
autographs.
You see, I've been losing my hair steadily over the last so many years, and
He looks like
my
Mario. That's the joke.
Yeah.
guys.
Gotcha.
my plan was to just grow my eyebrows out really long and then comb them back.
He does look like Mario.
Doesn't he?
Yeah, I didn't know that didn't click until you said it. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
It's really a Mario.
Just pitch yourself to Nintendo and see if you can get a gig making appearances.
but a handsome Mario. Definitely a handsome Mario.
Yeah.
Oh, Gary, you're a horrible liar. Thank you.
He wouldn't be a bad choice if they did a live action Mario.
No, got my vote.
Hell
Got
yeah.
my vote.
Do we have to go down that road again
we all-
30 years
right?
ago?
Hey,
we all know it's going to Idris Elba. Come on.
right?
Yes, once he's done being sick.
Who's
Hey,
blaming
I have-
everybody?
I'm looking at my Mario Brothers Dennis what the hell? I got that action figure right here. It's like
Oh, the
I'm knocking everything off. I can't, dude. You move in here and it's like a mother freaking house.
I know what that's like.
And I'm gonna turn on my camera just for a second, just to show off
No
my
problem.
Devo Koopa. There we go, right
Ooh.
there.
Oh, sweet.
I gotta make it big. Hang on.
There you go.
Yeah.
Bombas.
That is
I
nice.
vividly remember
dude.
that movie.
I got a soft spot for that movie. I know
I do
it's fucking
too.
horrible,
So
Yeah.
but I've got the
What's up,
import
everybody?
Blu-ray. I love it that much.
I just
Yeah,
got
you're
off my walk.
Yeah, there you go. Well,
Yeah.
I'm so happy you could join us because this is something that I saw this and I'm just like, I've got to hear Gary's take. And I seen you dropped a video. Yellow Flash did a video. Ryan did a video. And I'm like, whoa, this is, this whole industry on top of just this and the new social justice warriors and the children of the atom and whatever else go. I mean, just all this coming out at once. It just, to me, it's like a big old fucking cow flop from the industry. It's like, is this really it? Is this how it ends?
Yeah, and if the thing didn't happen that shall not be named, you would have seen 2017 ramp up again, and all those we were all watching them. All the comic book reviewing YouTubers would have. I don't know why they're not jumping on this right now. Like, just some guy's been at it for 2 years. He's great. Your boy Zach, and it would be on, because like, this is freaking. It was the rise of SJW Marvel again. It came up from the ashes out of nowhere. I listen. There's still a couple of good books out there, but there's not enough to keep an industry going, and so many people have left, and like, they were a loss. As Kevin Smith put it, they're not even a lost leader. I don't know if you watched that whole podcast, but he just called them a lost loser. Marvel is a lost loser.
He said that?
Yeah, he said it. He said they're not a lost leader. They're
Kevin
just a loss.
Smith said that. Are you
Yeah.
sure?
Yes, I will go through that. It was
I
him.
believe you. I'm
It
just
was
like,
it him
wow.
or Bernardin?
Bernadine?
Yeah.
I'm just Bernadine. I thought it was Bernardin. I said his name.
I can't
wrong.
remember if it's Bernadine or something like that.
Yeah.
Bernadette.
So yeah, they said it's a loss, unless I got it confused with somebody else, which I might have. But I just watched
Either
it
one of
3
those
times.
two, though.
But yeah, it's a loss. It's just a loss. They don't make any money. And what it's it's right at the part where I meant to put it in my video. God damn it, I hate it when I forget to put clips in my video. Whatever. Yeah, it's right when he's talking about it's just a placeholder that for IPs, which they don't need to do anymore. And he might have been talking about DC and not Marvel, but same thing. And that's what they're there for. They exist as placeholders, and they don't need them anymore because they're producing so much content outside, and it's not necessary. Plus, I think DC will fold before Marvel. I think AT&T has that axe out and they're ready to go right now.
I'm just I'm sorry, Gary. Sorry.
No, go on.
I'm just curious. I mean, what do the people and if you covered this already, is there any sense of what the Gail Simones and the Kelly Sue DeConnicks and the Anna Samanats and the CB Sobolskis, what they think? Do they think they're honestly, no, we'll be back. We'll be back. I mean, are they just playing the fiddle while Rome burns at this point?
Yes. I think, I I think
that's kind of what I asked him before.
yeah,
too,
Gail
but
Simone might actually be worried. I think because I mean, just her actions of late she looks a little worried. Anna Samanat, I think she's from a rich family. She's fine. She's gonna be fine. She wasn't into comics. None of these people were into comics, and I have no problem with that as long as you're not in charge. But Sana Amanat has come out and she's Mrs. Lifestyle brand, and honestly, that's where it's going to go. I mean, they make so much more money off of coffee cups and t-shirts and underwear. It's just a waste of time. So I agreed with a lot of what Kevin Smith said in his podcast that they're eventually going to. This is going to fundamentally change the market. We might go to something as drastic as print on demand. And they'll turn the surviving comic shops. They've already moved on. Like, we're going to lose a bunch of comic shops. So the surviving ones will be either boutique stores or bookstores, straight up bookstores. And the comics you get will be $10 books. So they'll basically take that Indiegogo Kickstarter model. You make the book a little more expensive. It comes out a little less frequently, but you get a higher quality book. But is there a market to support that? That's the question.
Right. And not to change the subject here, Rio Stu says this, and I know you'll get a kick out of this too, Gary. The Mario Brother movie has toys, but Star Trek Discovery doesn't.
Yes.
Well,
we got the Mikey
Spock in action figure.
Oh, yes.
Articulation.
Yes. Perfect articulation. That is the most accurate action figure of all time.
Brie Larson needs one too for Captain Marvel.
Oh my God, yes. I'm actually working on a Brie Larson thumbnail right now. That's what I'm working on.
Plank. Let's call her Plank.
I just see people.
I just want to be people. People.
Captain
People.
I like how she says people.
That's our comic book. We're writing Captain Plank.
That would be good.
You know,
I'd buy it.
I've gotten a few people on the Midnight's Edge group and on a couple other groups because Mecca doesn't do Facebook, so that's why I've been posting your videos over at your group, if you don't mind. So I don't know if you're getting pissed about.
I signed up for Facebook for a slot game for half price shows in Vegas. That's all
To go back to Kevin Smith real quick, that goes to show what I've said before about his ass. He goes out there and he shills like a motherfucker and sheds some tears and does what he has to make everybody in Hollywood happy. But if you listen to him once in a while, you really start to get nuggets of truth out of that bastard.
Yep. The old Kevin Smith rears his head. And during that whole podcast, the looks on his face were golden. He had just heard Diamond closed. So we got the actual reaction. And he's like, oh, this might.
Well, this is now affecting his private business. He owns Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash. That's
he had to close the one in LA already. So
that's what I'm saying. I know there's two different Kevin Smiths. I mean, we've seen that especially with the whole clownfish business too, and then he goes off and gets himself caught in a similar situation. But anyway, we won't go there.
Lay off clownfish TV, Kevin. We're cool.
That's right. He went and did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I figured you knew what I was talking about. Huh, Rob?
What happened? I didn't hear about that.
Well, Clownfish went out and said something about the He-Man show, and then Kevin Smith called him out on Twitter and was kind of a dick about it. And then he had said something that got ran with in the papers like it always does. So he had to go out and correct people on Twitter. And it was like, oh, well, if that isn't the kettle calling, pot black there, a little bit, Kevin. And he's the master for that shit. So a lot of people are the same thing. It's like, it'd be one thing for you just come out, because his first tweet wasn't bad. It was like, no, this is not true. Wish you were, it was a little passive aggressive, but then it got really kind of vicious after that. And yeah, I don't know if maybe he had a bad day. Maybe he didn't have any weed. Mark C.
Maybe
sent us another $5. Thank you so much. When Sana Amanat is let go from Marvel, I will start a channel just so I can play Yub Nub in celebration and take my copyright strike with pride.
Mark C, I'll be with you. And we'll do a 24-hour Yub Nub fest together. We'll drum circle that shit.
I know you don't drink anymore, but I'll break out the $85 bottle of scotch I bought in Vegas.
Dude,
I actually have the old Star Wars soundtrack with the old versions of Yub Nub and
Laptinek and all that.
Yeah,
which are better. They're terrible, but they're better than what we got.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I know some people like the newer ending of Jedi, but I'm just like, nah.
Except for I'm talking about the Java code. The Celtic song music at the end by John Williams is a vast improvement. I'm
A
sorry,
little bit, but I don't know. Just to me, it just doesn't feel right. And then
I hate young Anakin.
Yeah, that adding that makes it worse.
Yeah,
that's terrible.
It's not enough that they just added it. They didn't get Hayden Christensen to smile like the Sebastian Shaw did. Like he's just glaring.
It disrespects the old actor. I mean, like that completely disrespect. God damn it.
Yeah, it really does.
When I start thinking
It
about
looks
it.
like a costume.
And it adds, why didn't he change Obi-Wan to young Obi-Wan then?
Yeah. And why does Yoda not have hair? It looked like Baby Yoda. Like
Baby Yoda.
Do you guys miss Baby Yoda?
Do I miss Baby Yoda?
Do you miss Baby Yoda?
I should have a Baby Yoda at my doorstep as soon as this all calms down.
If it didn't get canceled.
Exactly. Well, I think the ones that I ordered are so far so good.
Okay.
I ordered a CD from Amazon, and they tested somebody tested positive at the distribution center near me. So it's like opening it up is like opening the Ark of the Covenant. I don't know, if it's gonna.
Did you spray it with a bunch of Lysol and shit?
Let it sit for 5 minutes after spraying it.
Well, I don't want to get too much down the road of the quote unquote virus, and I don't know the ins and outs of everything like most people don't, but I was looking at a really old thing of Lysol wipes from like 2-3 years ago, and it says coronavirus on it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's not new. I mean, I don't know. This is
just the 19th iteration of it.
The 19th version. That's it.
Well, then there's some people arguing saying it's the 19 doesn't mean that, it means the year.
It might be. Yeah, that might be it too. Yeah, I have no idea.
Or whatever. So, so what else are we talking about?
Well, I mean, we want to be honest. The real virus is these bad decisions being made in our entertainment and media.
Yep.
Well, that's the big question surrounding everybody is asking, and I don't know. Not too many people, for some reason, have checked out one of our latest videos on the main channel. Which I don't know if it's the algorithm or just maybe it needs a better thumbnail or description, but it basically breaks down why we're not going to see things like Fast and the Furious or Birds of Prey, Black Widow or anything like that coming to streaming anytime soon. And I seen fucking Grace Randolph post today something about Black Widow and Mulan going to Disney Plus. She does not know what the fuck she's talking about. That is, if that happens, the theaters will collectively lose their minds. Like, they may let Mulan go just because of some of the stigma attached, but if they turn around and throw Black Widow onto Disney Plus, the theater owners will they'll collectively lose their mind.
No MCU movie should be going
It's the same situation as comic books. It's the exact same. So I'm wondering if one industry, I mean, comic book industry, is it even an industry anymore? The comic book club is waiting to see what the theaters, what they're going to do, because there is a point where they're going to have to do something, unless they're getting enough money from their streaming services already,
And it is a very similar situation, Gary. You're not wrong. You have two very mirrored situations. The only difference is there's no money left in comics, but there is a lot of money men left in movies.
Yeah.
And theaters, as opposed to comic shops, are a little different. There's how many comic shops in America right now?
Right around 2,000, maybe.
Okay, so there's like almost
tiny.
There's almost twice to 3 times that as far as theater goes.
Yep.
And the amount of money that a movie makes when one person buys a ticket as opposed to 5 people who buy something digital and watch it together is a big difference. And as much as you might want to think that, that it still makes the movie companies that much more money, there's still a stigma attached to things that don't go to theaters. And there's a lot of areas that don't have access to that. DVDs still outsell every format that's out there right now, despite high definition being a common thing. To most people, a DVD is just fine. They don't give a shit about Netflix. They don't give a shit about Vudu or Amazon Prime or anything like that. So we're still a ways away for that part. On the other hand, you're right about the comic industry causing the digital side of things to slow down. If that was cheaper, I have a feeling the comic book stores would have died a long time ago.
Oh yeah. Digital will never ever catch on, even if it's $1 for a subscription. It won't be enough to pay the artists. They won't get enough money because comic book fans are always on a limited budget. That's why, it should have died out 10 years ago. There's not enough people to support it. The people who do support it are not made of money. and there's different classes of comic shop customer. There is the, I'm getting Golden Age, Silver Age class, which is a guy in his 50s now, and it's aging out. You're starting to see like the Golden Age market. It's still, I mean, the comics are still worth a ton of money, but the people who enjoyed those books, they're dying out. They're gone. And the same thing's going to happen. So it's just getting smaller and smaller. It's kind of like the Star Trek audience.
Well, even things
Kinda
like
the Star
eBay and
Trek
the
audience.
internet. I mean,
Yeah.
that's got to make a big difference too, right there. Because not only have you got the digital side of things, but just to be able to buy a book, I can go on eBay right now and buy, whatever comic book I want.
Oh yeah, oh my God, there's a complete run of Daredevil on eBay right now.
See what I mean? I mean,
Yep.
I can't
Thinking about it.
I can understand where the comic books are stores are at this place. And I even wrote this on Ethan Van Sciver's post where I'm like, you know what? If I want a comic book, it's called a comic book. I want to be able to hold the
Yep.
damn thing in my hand and look at it. It's the same thing with like porn. If I want to go quick and easy and cheap, fine. I'll just watch some porn and, take care of my own business. But like a comic book, I'd rather have the real thing. I mean, it's just not the same without it. I don't understand. I mean,
It becomes disposable, kind of like your
Yeah.
music. Okay, like we're all into music. Tom, I'm sure, and Mecca, of course.
Oh God, I've got
you like to buy
thousands of CDs,
vinyl and
hundreds of
cassette
vinyl,
tapes,
yeah.
and it's just not the same as digital. I don't even care about it. I've never bought, into digital at all. I still buy CDs.
I back it up, but no, it's just so I have it for a portability. Like if I want to go and throw something on something for, a car ride or whatever, because I do not want to take my CDs and,
Right.
if you're lucky enough to have a CD player in a car now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I buy everything physical CD wise still. I mean, when I do buy CDs, there haven't been a lot that have come out. Or if I just listen to a song on YouTube or something and I happen to see the band playing, then I'll go to the show for sure and I'll buy a lot of stuff at the show. But,
My newest non-re-release is probably Tenacious D Post-Apocalypto, I think. No, wait, no, that Prince album that just come out, I take that back. But would you count that as new?
It'd be more like just revealed.
Yeah, so I mean, I buy a lot of re-release stuff, soundtracks. Oh my fucking God, I spend way too much. I spend more on the soundtracks to movies than I do the movies.
Oh, dude, I got the Lord of the Rings soundtracks on colored vinyl and it's in this big book. It's like a book. It's so beautiful. And there's 3 of them. The first one's impossible to find.
I just got the soundtrack to the back sheet, Lord of the Rings, and then I bought the vinyl live on air. I got the 77 Hobbit. I'm like, I don't give a shit. I'm getting this motherfucker.
Were you eBaying and streaming?
I was.
I'm guilty. Yeah, I'm so guilty
It was
of
the
that.
one and only because I bitched about missing out on the Back to the Future soundtrack because that son of a bitch rocketed up to over $100 in no time because they only did a limited like 5,000 CD run. And I got pissed because I missed out on a really good priced one. So this just happened to roll by, and I'm like, I'm not losing this one out. So I had everybody remind me. So in the middle of the stream, I went back to check, and everybody was rooting me on in the chat. Like, now don't you guys go in there and bid me up just to be dicks.
Oh, I'd totally do that. I would totally do that.
Of course you would. And I was waiting for Rob to do it just to be an ass.
Damn, I knew I forgot something.
But oh no, it's the same thing. I mean, I want that physical copy, and I don't know this new shit. Nobody wants it. Nobody cares. I mean, we've established that so much that I don't think the business though can rely completely on back copies. I mean, I'm sure that's what kept your store afloat outside of the, because like you said, most of these stores are living diamond bill to diamond bill, which was just like the video store was before the end. We were literally living to, we had like Empire and some other companies that would do it, but it was basically we were living to bill. I have nightmares still of, knowing it's new release day and I've got to figure out where to come up with $300.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And not just $300, but have it in the right amount in a, not just that, but have it in the right amount plus, on a, not a check, but they wouldn't take checks. It had to be a cashier's
money order
or an invoice. Like Entertainment One was notorious for
that was another one. Yeah.
Doing stuff like that. They'd send you an invoice that had like the wrong quantities from what you actually were scheduled to receive. And you'd have to like call them up and get that fixed. Yeah, they were notorious. I mean,
and hey, when towards the end, there's actually an article about me and Brian buying my shop and bleeding cool. Okay, but the part of the financial part is wrong. We were breaking even for way too long, and I decided to pull the plug. I could have kept the shop going, but it was killing me. Plus, I had fallen off the wagon, so it was absolutely killing me. So I had to stop, or I was going to lose everything else. And I really just wanted to close the store, and Brian talked me into selling it. And, I got a good price for it. And, I got to keep my personal collection, and the customers got to keep a shop. So I was like, all right, that's fine. And no regrets. I had a life-size Iron Man. I probably could have taken it home, but I'm like, where in the hell am I going to put this? It's like a huge Iron Man that lights up. It's like, it's cool, but I don't want to bring it home. You can have it. And that's what happened. But yes, that nightmare of every Tuesday, Diamond just it starts to look like this predator that comes to you every week. And then knowing, and this was when books were good. But the bills kept getting bigger and bigger because the comic books were getting more expensive, and there's more variants. When I started there, my Diamond bill was $900 a week, which is totally manageable, and I'd make $3,000. That's it, and that's how I lived. And then it turned into, by the time I left, it was $5,000 a week I had to come up with. And, my wife owned a business too. So between her and I, to pay our bills and to pay our rent at both the shops, we had to generate like $25,000 a month. And it was just like getting nuts. And yeah, San Francisco went from being somewhat affordable at some time, believe it or not. It wasn't, there was a room for middle class, and then overnight in 2010, everything just got nuts and too expensive, and food was expensive. And, we were driving out of the city to get our food and get everything else. And a parking ticket went from $35 to like 65 overnight. Yeah.
Everything just
too.
Yeah.
See, I got out of buying comic books for two reasons. One, it was like 2006. The stories I weren't really liking, and two, the comic book shop that I go to, the owner would rebox stuff that I've already picked up and try to resell it to me, claiming I didn't get it, or like trying to insinuate that I went to another comic book store to pick up the stuff.
What?
And it was like, that is horrible. And I didn't talk to him after we had an argument about that. I went in when he wasn't working. I spoke to his daughter, and I was like, I got to cancel because your dad's like a con man right now. And she just told me, like, she spotted some of the stuff, and she's like, yeah, things are not going good here. And this was 2006 in Canada at the time.
Yep.
And I was like, well, I'm really sorry, because like, if it wasn't him, if he didn't do that, I'd still be getting my box pull, like, every couple of weeks, and I'd be back here. But I can't practice to that. And so
no, that's not very good customer service.
I was just pointing
off
it
top
out
of my head
earlier before you got here, Gary, how, you've talked about it a few times where, that was one issue you did have with the community, was there was this gatekeeper mentality about it, to where they would not allow any newcomers. And, like Mecca said, she gets intimidated, and it's not because she's a woman, but it's, it's men too.
It's a new culture. It's a new culture.
Yeah,
like, if you don't know anything about it, let's say I've never done drugs before or something, and you go to your dispensary the first time, you're nervous as fuck. It's kind of the same sort of thing where, okay, what do I do? What do I look for? What do I want? What am I going to try? What might I like? What don't I like?
Right. And like,
imagine
I pointed
buying
out,
illegal drugs.
Yeah. Well, right. And like I told you, you were one thing about
way more fun.
Where you were different, or at least tried to be different, was you would try to make sure that everybody felt welcome, and everybody was a potential customer and a new customer.
There's the Simpsons episode. The Simpsons. Have you seen the Simpsons episode with the old comic book guy and the new comic book guy? And it's Jack Black and the new comic book guy. That's kind of what was going on. There was a new guard of comic book shop owner that was customer service friendly, because we had all grown up working retail. Like the first generation, comics is all they've known. Brian Hibbs, I'm not throwing shade on him or anything, but that guy's only ever worked in a comic shop his entire life. He's left San Francisco, but he doesn't know how to drive. Like, that's a San Franciscan right there. So that's your old guard comic shop owner. And then, Tom and I and other people, we've worked in warehouse and Burger Kings and all that crap. You learn retail, and because you have to make that experience better. Because I felt that too. Listen, I hated that when you walked into a comic shop, they didn't say hello to you. They had their freaking head down a comic book. You ask for help, and you look like you're bugging them. And that stuff drives me nuts. Hated that stuff.
Yeah, that's. I mean, and that's
Yeah,
the
everybody was
biggest.
the Randall
Yeah.
from Clerks.
Yeah.
In the video store. I don't watch movies. Watching movies.
Why do you even work here? Are these movies any good? I don't know. I don't watch movies. Well, what about these two? Well, they suck. These are the same two movies. I don't appreciate your ruse, ma'am. My what? Your ruse, your cunning attempt to trick me.
Oh, now I want to watch High Fidelity.
That's
Oh,
good
yeah.
too. Yeah. Mark C. It's really weird knowing that I read Brian Hibbs' blog about buying comic shop several years ago, only to find out now that the shop belonged to Gary. Do you mean right this moment, or do you mean you just found out like throughout the history of Gary telling
Yeah.
the story? You don't have to super chat, just say yes or no in the chat there, of course. I'm just curious because that's interesting if that is the case. Because I mean, everybody was pretty sure. I'm sure most people have heard this story. Like it's a common joke.
Well, that blog is his side of events. Maybe I'll tell my side someday of what went on.
So I have a question, Gary, because I don't think I've actually heard the name, but my first time when I went to LA in 2005 and I was asking for a comic book shop, they did recommend something in San Francisco, and I don't remember the shop, but it was, were you by the bay? Like, was your shop by the bay in San Francisco?
No, I'm by the beach. I'm by the beach, close
Down by the beach.
I can't remember the name, but they said like it was a great post. It'd be crazy ironic, or that they'd be talking
the
about
one
yours.
comic shop that was probably recommended to you by any travel guide or anything would be Isotope, the comic book lounge owned by James Sim, which is it's new releases, indie books, but he's an old bartender, so he makes it like a lounge. It's very nice.
Oh yeah, that
Couches
might be
and
it, because I didn't go on a travel guide. I was just asking one of my fellow internships at Paramount, like, where do I get my comics for this thing? Because I've got holds on back home, and I want to get like different books. That's where I discovered like Transmetropolitan and a couple of other stuff outside of the big two
Derek's book, Transmet is awesome.
Transmet is great.
Yes, the artist is my buddy. Yeah, so the best comic shop in San Francisco right now is Amazing Fantasy, by the way, on Irving, 8th and Irving. If you're ever in town, it's Frank's shop. It's if you're a superhero fan, which I am, and it's straight up traditional comic book shop. He's got good back issues, and he's really knowledgeable, and he's like the one guy who'll survive this. He's the guy who will have planned for 5 months ahead and known that was a pandemic or some disaster coming. Because if you live in San Francisco, we kind of always work under like the big one's gonna hit any day now, so it's kind of a thing here.
That's why everybody shits in the streets.
Or somebody's gonna shit in the street in front of you. I had a homeless guy come to my house.
You said that.
Yeah, fucking come to my house a couple days ago. Wanted to come in, take a nap. Yeah, I said sure. No, I didn't.
So are you kidding? I've been waiting for some homeless guy to knock on my door and ask to come take a nap.
Well, I guess I'm next on the list, right? That's what you're thinking.
Shit, what's your address?
666.
123 Fake Street.
Yeah.
1313 Mockingbird Lane.
Oh, I just got Monsters Go Home, the Blu-ray.
Ooh.
And it's actually got a bonus movie on it. I didn't even know it's got. I think it was an 80s TV movie, but it's also in HD.
Which Revenge or?
I think it's Revenge, yeah, because it's got everybody but Eddie Munster. They got somebody else playing young.
Yeah,
Eddie.
that's probably Monsters Revenge then.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until the 90s they got rid of everybody pretty much.
Yeah.
My oldest son looks so much like Eddie Munster.
Doesn't he? I seen him at LV.
You seen him, yeah. Like he is freaking Eddie Munster. He won't dress up like him though, because he could be like Lurch and Eddie Munster, because he's 6'5". Yeah.
That's a tall kid.
Yeah.
He'd also be the most intimidating Eddie Munster you ever see if he's 6'5". Yeah.
He wasn't such a wuss. Yeah.
Oh gosh. Hopefully he's not listening.
Oh, he doesn't care. I wish I'm making a thumbnail for last night's Friday Night Tights, and it's me and Jeremy as Captain Marvels. It's beautiful. It's so stunning and brave. I can't wait for you to all to see it.
It's stunning and brave.
I refined Jeremy's face on Captain Marvel. It's the stuff. Freaking,
You should make him have googly eyes like the toy.
I should.
I don't get the sense that.
Is it as pretty as this one?
Let me see.
Screen share, Tom.
That's what I was talking about.
Oh my god!
looks like a
Why is
suffer
their
from a
other eye
stroke.
going the other way?
That toy had a
Hey,
stroke.
you guys.
Hey, I
Saw
got
that
that.
in,
My neck cow with Danvers.
that's one we found in Vegas, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And we left
Captain
it.
Marvel love chunk,
Apples. Sorry.
baby Ruth.
There's
Old
still this,
Patton Oswalt there. God, Vegas is shut down. No
Yeah,
casinos for 30 days. That makes shit real.
everything's kind of getting real. That's the thing. It's
I don't know, man. I talked to one person and they're worried, and I talked to another person and they're like, it's gonna be fine. I
I'm
have
trying
no
to
idea what's
stay
going on.
calm. I mean, most of our area so far has been fairly. I mean, everybody's taking precautions. In my immediate area, we haven't had anybody so far test positive, so that is a plus. I'm worried about other people I know in other places. You know, even people like you, Gary, who live in highly populated areas where the shit's spreading like the plague. Basically, not to even be punny about it in any way, but. Thank you, Matt G, for another unicorn sticker there, $1.49. But yeah, I mean, I check in with a lot of people regularly anymore, a lot more than I used to, just because of shit like this. You never know,
Yeah.
I'm
Go
sorry,
on, Rob.
Larry.
No, you're going. Go on.
I'm trying to keep perspective. There was a pandemic in 2009 that people kind of forget about, the H1N1 pandemic. 1 billion people worldwide were infected with that. And we've been through other pandemics before. Not to say that we can't take we should take this seriously. Yes, take this seriously. Wash your hands, avoid crowds, observe the social distancing, we're gonna get through, we'll get through this, but I don't want to just expressly blame the media, but at the same time, as I've often said to Tom, dog bites man is not news. Man bites dog is. So they have been sensationalizing it, which is why everybody ran out to the store and bought all the toilet paper.
well, there's that aspect, yeah, but there's the other side of it, like Andre brought up, and it's true. There's a lot of shit we don't know, and that's the thing I bring up to a lot of people in my personal life who've talked to me about it when they bring up certain things, and it's like, well, that's just it. We've not reached a point where we know, and I don't want to drag this whole conversation down and talk about this the whole time. So, but no, it is important though to keep in perspective. I think you're right, Rob. I think everybody's trying to be positive. I think shows like ours, hopefully at least, have helped people out. I know, Gary, you've had a great, few shows the last week or so here where people have been, just to be able to get together, even congregate, even if it is, in digital space as opposed to real space right now, I'm sure is keeping a lot of people's sanity. I've talked to a lot of people I know through YouTube and through my personal life who are getting the cabin fever and shit, So it is a real thing to deal with on that basis. And then there's the other side of it where people are getting sick and there have been people dying. And, I've had a few instances in the last few months, or actually more like few weeks, where I almost question what the hell the real deal is too. So I don't know either, but I've had, 4 deaths close to me in the last month. So,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, a little perspective, just quickly. San Francisco had its Chinese New Year parade on February 8th, which is crowded as hell. I haven't been to one in years, but the last one I went to, you couldn't move on the streets of San Francisco. There were so many people. There's hundreds of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands just crammed in. This was like, last time I went to was 2005, 6. And they had it here just a couple of months ago. And there, as far as I know, there's not a ton of cases here. So
that's a plus considering.
Yeah. So that's, I mean, like we did have somebody die. It was in his 40s, but he had major pre-existing conditions, like major. But that was it. So I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't mean to minimize it either.
No. And that's the thing is, yeah.
one of
Yeah,
the
go
I
ahead.
liked
Rob.
your video on it. You guys, that video you guys did was great. I thought it was really good. So.
Well, we've tried to keep a level head about it, and I mean, like I said, the more recent one, I hope more people get to watch because we've had so many people talk about, and there's all these rumors about this and that coming straight to streaming and shit like that. And I wouldn't expect that. I mean, it'd be nice for us all to be able to have all this extra stuff to have fun with while we're, stuck indoors, but I wouldn't expect it. And there's a lot of other stuff that needs to come out yet too. Rob, go ahead, and then Mark C
Yes,
sent us yet another super chat here. Thank you so much.
Mark C coming through like a champ. Mark C, $10. I have a great story. Marvel, DC, and Independent from 1970 to 2005. I have over 1,000 Blu-rays of films in my TV. My hobby is drawing. I've been planning this quarantine my whole life.
Well, and that's the thing is, I'm sure you've seen all the headlines too, Gary and everybody else here with Generation X is coming to the rescue to save the Zoomers because they don't know what to do now that they're quarantined.
Oh yeah, yeah, because we kind of spent our lives quarantined on our own.
Mhm.
Yeah, left to our own
We've had to
devices.
figure out what to do when there's nothing to
Latchkey
do,
kids,
right?
yeah.
The Mary Sue lasted a day. The first day of quarantine, she dropped her article. Oh, Gen X, help us! You know what to do.
I tell you though,
We're doing
Mecca,
it.
we may have. We may have already had it. We came back from Vegas. We were bolt sick.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Yep.
I don't
Yeah, I
know.
was sick coughing for like a month.
Yep.
Yeah,
And I
mean,
was in bed for like 3 days, not doing anything fun, in bed sleeping with body aches, fever. Yeah,
I've said that. I mean, I don't want to conspire too much, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't.
No.
I was riding in the van from the airport to Grand Central. I was like, I got to get home.
I said that to you, Rob. I said, I'm wondering if you guys didn't have it, and you're just lucky that you're as good shape as you are for your age.
No, yeah,
And you don't smoke and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I always say the shape I'm in. You could donate my body to science fiction. I mean, that's.
Yeah, but all things considered, you're pretty healthy. I mean, you get exercise and you.
Well, right. He doesn't smoke. He doesn't have
the guy
any
who goes to the
major.
buffet and gets pineapple.
Yeah, he doesn't have any major issues. I know Rob. He's a very healthy living guy for the most part. So.
Yeah, but like I said, I came home. I went to the couch and I slept for 5 hours, and I didn't move. I literally collapsed. I did not that I didn't want to move. I was like I couldn't move. I was so tired.
Mhm. Yeah, you can't move. You can't do anything. You couldn't. Like it just knocked me on my ass. I was so dead tired. I was coughing for like the first couple of days. I was in and out of having fevers. Even when I went in to get in line at TSA at the airport.
Well, yeah, and Jesse and
Rob's like, "Oh yeah, you're sweaty. What?" Like, I'm like, "Yeah, I think I'm breaking a fever again."
Yeah, Jesse and Jeff were sick at the same time as you guys. Of course, you ran into them, Rob. So,
well, they got sick after me. I don't know if maybe I'm the camera.
well, around the same time. Who knows? Yeah,
who knows what was in? I mean, in Vegas, you're touching all the slot machines. You're touching
it's a
money.
petri dish. Yeah.
Yeah, you're
yeah.
touching everything, and then you're walking around outside, wash your hands as much as you need to, and
because Captain Able to consider that a warning shot. Oh yeah, I'm still careful. I'm still very careful. I had to go to the bank today. The drive-through was only open, and so I had to put rubber gloves on. I wiped down the ATM machine, with sterile wipes. But it's what's the curse? May you live in interesting times.
Yep. That's it. And it's supposedly isn't that curse from China?
Yeah, but if you say that, you'll get yelled at.
But what's really sad is that real life has now become more interesting than our fiction.
Right.
But yeah, we were out
written.
during like Chinese New Year or whatever they call it now, Lunar New Year now, because I guess you can't call it Chinese New Year for some reason. And there's tons of tourists, tons of everything, and big events and stuff.
I'm surprised nobody got pissed off at me on Twitter. I said I think I had the Kung flu. It's a thing.
Yeah, we were even saying that before they started saying it was out here because we both had gotten in contact in airports.
Well, here's the thing I always said is there was a bunch of people sick earlier this year and late last year, and they didn't even know about it till December. So chances are it had spread long before that. It spread long enough to where we didn't even know how to test it, and people have probably already gone through it.
I think it's been here for months.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
where even though it's, I'm not trying to conspire, but like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Rob and Mecca and Jeff and Jesse and all these other people that I knew were sick around that time didn't have it already. It wouldn't
They'd all
be
stop making
surprising.
out with each other. That
I know,
might
right?
help.
Would you all quit with the threesomes and the foursomes? Jesus. Matt G sent us $2. Hopefully Picard cameos in the Discovery film.
Oh God, I hope so. Oh my God, I'll be good all year if we get a Star Trek.
God, since
movie.
we have you here, Gary.
I
Might as
dare
well.
them. I keep saying I dare them. I dare them to make a Star Trek Discovery.
I called the end of this last episode the single worst moment in Star Trek history.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yep. Could not agree more. I was dreading making my video review until I saw the last episode. I'm like, I'm going to have fun with this. As said from Heels versus Babyface, I'm going to play with my food on this one. That I just took it was so okay. So it's for the Romulans were right. By the way, Commander O is a hero, yet she's still a murderer that they let go.
Yep.
And Girardi's a murderer
that would they've been right though if they wouldn't have set all this shit in motion in the first place? I mean, you gotta
Well, it's
ask
the
yourself.
closest thing to an actual Star Trek debate, which is do the ends justify the means? So they interpret the warning correctly, but they are driven by fear and ignorance to just crush it instead of trying to explore why this message was left and what to do.
They're still out there. They just closed the hole, and as Doomcock pointed out, it just takes one pissed off synth to go build another antenna to go call them again.
Right. Well, that was the whole problem with the whole thing with the Borg, like I said, because they present the Borg like once you're plugged in and being part of the collective, you're almost addicted to it.
Yep.
So you're rehabilitating a bunch of Borg on a cube, which is basically like having a rehabilitation center over top of an Oxycontin factory.
At this point, I would have preferred the Romulans to have been the origin of the Borg as opposed to this outside synth doomsday thing that's going to inevitably happen.
And as Rob likes to point out in that analogy, or whoever else at the time likes to bring in, they're pushed away from society. They're not accepted. So why wouldn't they just go, fuck this, I'm plugging back in? And somebody just plug back in at any given time.
This whole thing was a journey to make Picard a synth so they can have synth discrimination next season so he can fully experience his white guilt. I mean, that's completely what they did it for.
Oh my God, you figured it out.
But they already have that aspect with the ex-Borgs, because who's the first ex-Borg but Picard?
But they're not old white males.
Script doctor, I was kind of missing another allegory for marginalized people in this one because we only had 3. We needed a 4th just to round it out. Because we had the Romulans who were an allegory for immigration and marginalized people, and then we had the XBs who were an allegory for immigrants and marginalized people, and now we have the Synths who are an allegory for marginalized people and immigrants. Which one? I mean, I think they should all have an allegory bingo night for marginalization.
Is that a new bingo for us? We had STD bingo.
Yeah. God dang.
We had to make a Picard. We hadn't made a Picard bingo yet.
No, somebody made us one though. They made us a man baby one. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, but it's kind of true.
Everything on yeah.
Did you notice the criticism got? Well, I don't know. It might. I don't get it that much because it's getting drowned out with Doctor Who and stuff. But I didn't get that much criticism.
It went radio silent.
Yeah. The second the show stopped. Yeah, the second the show stopped airing, it went dead. I had people like all right up until that last episode who were just in my feed constantly that I would see arguing with my followers, and it just got like it got so much to the point where I ended up just having to like say, okay, I'm not arguing with you guys about this. You're just wasting your time.
Well, you could hear the crickets through the internet.
Yeah.
But now I noticed that even like the Guardian and IndieWire they can't defend it anymore. I mean, they've actually come around that this version of Trek is terrible.
How do you defend this? You have a Gollum body and you download Picard into it.
That's what I mean. It's impossible.
And you give him exactly the same looks, features, and age that he would have had he not had the virus that probably could have been fixed by that Deus Ex Machina purple machine that looks like one of those, what do you call it? Whiteout things.
It looks
But-
like a yak back
Right
from
at
the
the
day.
sensors.
Remember the yak back?
Yeah, that too. Yeah, and then to double the piss off for me, and I would slap Picard in the face right now if I was Riker.
Mm.
And not only that, they paint Riker and Troy as stupid because if really all that was stopping them from saving their son was the law, Gary, as a parent, if somebody told you that your son or whatever is going to die if you don't do this, you don't even really think about what this is. You just say, what is it I got to do?
Yeah. I mean, Riker, that's in his personality too. He would have
Right.
done it. He would have gone.
So instead, we have to believe that he went to Deanna and said, sorry, honey, it's the law. We can't save him. But it's the law.
Screw
you know?
that. I used to break the law before I had kids. Listen, I would burn heaven and earth for my
Exactly.
kids. Okay? Burn heaven and
Exactly
earth.
my point. And then we're supposed to believe that Riker is empathetic to Picard in his struggle right now when he's like, motherfucker, where are you when Thaddeus was dying? We could have used that Gollum and saved his ass.
Right?
could've
That was
helped me
one time
taking
he
that
should have been
ship.
yelled at.
Yeah.
Right? Except for the other time.
We
Oh,
could have
and then it
taken a
pissed
ship to
me off-
Baku.
yeah.
I don't care. Like we'll fix it. It's like
Right? Yeah, they would have found a way to do it. And that would have been a more exciting show. We've said that. We've brought up 100
Yeah.
other different things. But then, like you said, that was the other thing that pissed me off is Riker shows up, which was reshoots, by the way, and confirmed, Gary. I don't know if you saw that or not.
It looked like reshoots.
Yeah, it was
that a
reshoots. You
green
know who that was
screen in his
supposed to be?
living room?
You know who that was supposed to be?
Hubris.
Yeah, it was supposed to be Captain Hubris.
It was- You're right. You're right. Well, remember, we all did videos on this a year and a half ago. Remember the character descriptions and the plot descriptions that trekmovie.com put out? This was at the end of 18. So it might have been a little over a year ago. This was supposed to be a archaeological expedition that Picard was probably to go to this, whatever that stupid Romulan thing is. I don't know if the Synths were going to be involved or not, but yeah, this was a completely different show. Romulegalos was written in. Girardi was supposed to be a dude. And there was supposed to be another female character and that got cut out apparently. And these are all legit character descriptions. So yeah, this is two different shows cutting together.
Well, not only that, we had the lady who plays Captain Hubris confirm that they had shot her in that finale.
Really?
In the scenes, and it's on the screen right now. Yeah, it's right here on the screen.
Oh,
yeah. Instead, they brought in. No, that's all right. I figured I'd let you know because in case you were looking. And then they brought in, or should I say, Riker reshot those scenes, or they reshot them with Riker instead. I mean, Jesus, I can't talk right now.
And I think Siobhan confirmed it just the other day too.
Oh yeah, he also confirmed it. I have that somewhere too. It was on. It's on his Reddit Instagram where he says, "Yeah, these were reshoots when Jonathan Frakes was in."
And
that's a fun read too.
And speaking of the initial leaks,
and I completely believe this. I knew it was too good to be true to have an old lady come in and save the day, which was, I guarantee you, that's one of the things that tested like shit.
Well, not only that, in the body download thing was supposed to be Data, not Picard. Remember in the original leaks?
Yep.
Here, let me chat, Rob, if you want to read those.
While Rob's doing that, Matt G sent us $5.
Does Trek Yard still like this? Did they come
I have
around?
no idea, to be honest with you. I
think they'd be really insulted by all that.
It looked like it was really stressing them out. It did. I was kind of worried about him a little bit.
Matt G sent us $5. What's the ranking of fake Trek? Worst to best between 3 films and 2 main shows, or even individual seasons versus 3 movies, etc. Well, here's the thing: with all the movies and STD and all that crap, you can ignore all that shit. You can't really ignore Picard. It's a lot like Star Wars: The Last Jedi. They have sullied Jake Skywalker, or whatever you want to call him now. Now we've got Jake Picard. Seriously, they've gone to that limit. Yeah, literally JL. Fuck that. Oh my fucking.
I got the Reddit out here. I don't know.
It
came up Narek. Yeah, Narek. No, we. Oh God.
Yeah, so this is
yeah,
all
they
like
forgot about. You know what? I forgot about Narek too. I reviewed the episode and I'm like, oh yeah, oh I didn't care. That's why.
Yeah, they let him go scot-free too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they didn't wrap up Narek. They didn't wrap up the ex-Borg on the planet.
Yeah, because that ending should have been like, when he's like, we're going to escort you out of here. And she's like, that's not necessary. It should have been like, yeah, everybody else can go, but you, Commander, we got to talk. If that's all we needed.
Yeah, Next Generation. Yeah, Tom, you and I we discussed for 20 minutes the other night on TNG, on Next Generation. They would have did a whole episode about who has the salvage rights to the Borg cube and what do you do with all the
Yes.
all the
Well,
X-Men?
that's infinitely more interesting.
Yes.
Well, not only that, like I said, and this is the biggest thing too, also about this whole business. We have 10 episodes here, right? This is at most 1 or 2 TNG episodes worth of story.
Yep.
Mhm.
They had to add it. They had to pad it out with all these ex-Borgs and being reclaimed. They had to pad it out with the synthetic ban. Like the plot is just basically other aliens left a message of warning, and it's up to Picard to return this synthetic back to our homeworld so that they don't bring about the end of the galaxy.
I still think it's Control. I think
That's
Control.
what I was saying. It's just the evolutionized version of Control, and we're going to find out between Picard and STD this next season that that whatever you call it came back because they knew where to come. They just didn't know which time, so they showed up like 300 years later in between everything and destroyed all living life. So then when Discovery shows up, all that's left is whatever survived.
Was there ever discussion of having Q speak to Picard a la Tapestry? No, never.
You don't even have to have him on screen.
Unless they saw it in a YouTube clip, they're not going to refer to it because they don't know it. I don't know how Alex Kurtzman keeps his job at this point. I honestly, like, this is.
I think his wife is sleeping around to keep him still employed.
Dude,
Well, here's the thing: is I
something,
hear
or he
some
is.
counter bullshit, and I don't know how true
Allegedly,
a lot of it is.
my opinion.
Here's the thing with Kurtzman: he's a yes man. He makes everybody happy, and I've even done certain interviews with people that I respect a great deal, and they'll sit there and say, you know, oh, people like Kurtzman and so get bad reps, and it's like not by my count, but I get where they're coming from and I get what they're saying. You know, like I brought this up before, look at the whole incident with the Mummy. He let Tom Cruise come in and shit all over that thing, so he doesn't get blamed for that.
Well, Tom
He just
Cruise
gets
has
seen.
his own writers, though. I mean,
Well,
Tom
my
Cruise-
point is though is that Kurtzman's not seen as the bad guy. He's just seen as the guy who bowed to his star, did what the studio asked. He played the game. It wasn't his fault.
Well, even his career as a start, like aside from being like a temp writer on like The Legend of Hercules and those Sam Raimi shows, and then working on Fringe, his first movie, The Island, had over I think 100 similarities to a '79 film of almost the identical.
Yeah, there's
plot.
a big old fucking thing. No, I know, and no
Michael Bay is the one that
sarcasm in my
took it on the
voice.
chin for that.
Here's the thing, and that's where you know, Gary, what I'm talking about. When these fuckers live in their bubble, you know, to them, people like JJ Kurtzman, Michael Bay, you name it, all they see is that these guys make us money. And when they make mistakes, there's always a fall guy. There's somebody there who can be a scapegoat or even more. Oh, there. What? Why? And I said that too about his ass. Why didn't he keep his mouth shut? We know he's not coming back next year. He knows he's not coming back next year. Cash your fucking paycheck, shut the hell up, and move on. The dumbest thing you could have ever done was dip your toe into the pond of Star Trek fans. You're just waiting to get that sumbitch fucking tore off by a bunch of piranhas, aren't you?
Oh, well, I can. So there's some explanation to this. He's one of those guys that weren't quite smart enough to be a hippie, and his solution to, you know, save the planet is to kill all the people on it, according to his latest story time with Uncle Stoned Michael Chabon.
Not only that, he's not old enough to be a legit hippie.
Oh no. He's one of these kind of one of these noopies, you know. He's one of these, you know, people
he's
are
a legit
on the earth.
Berkeley resident. I don't know if they're legit hippies, but he's a legit Berkeley resident.
Oh, you want to see some funny shit? I don't think Gary's seen this yet. Keep talking, guys.
Is it story time? I've seen story time.
Come on, damn it.
Great.
Yeah.
I was watching. I watch your live streams, man.
I don't know if you are or not. You don't always
I'm
speak up.
so using that clip in my review. Hello, young human.
Hello, young
It's story time with
human.
Mike. I can tell you right now, I talked to him a couple of times at length, and he did not talk like that 15 years ago. He talked like a normal human being.
Fucked up on something.
Yeah.
Well, of course, we slowed it down for the later
Internet
part,
fart
but-
gas.
Well, yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you. Is I want to put the clip up, but do you think it's going to be related to his the way he sets his videos? I didn't even want to say it, but you understand why he sets his videos that certain way, and do you think that they would relate that to the out? Because like anytime somebody, I'm sure you guys know this, anytime somebody uses your content, there's a little tab on your channel where you can go and you can see who's using your content.
Oh yeah,
thing you could do a little copyrights. Or I don't care. People can use my content.
I think you're talking. Are you talking more to him or to the?
Yeah, no,
whole
where he sets his
COPPA
channel.
thing?
His channel is set to a certain
Yeah,
designation.
well,
here
here's
on
the thing
YouTube.
with that.
So
Yeah,
if you
he did
used
that on
his
purpose,
video,
I think.
yeah, but if you used his video, how does that affect us in the algorithm?
I don't know. See,
Does
here's
it
the thing.
I
default to
don't
his
know.
setting?
Here's the thing that I don't know about that is that you could be right. It depends on how YouTube sees it, but the problem is I don't even think everybody quite understands the whole COPPA thing to begin with. And I've tried to express what I
Oh
found.
no! I don't think
but-
it's hurt. I don't think it's affected the yeah, because I had about normal views after using his clip. I think. I mean, yeah, I had a decent one.
Yeah, I didn't get anything as far as any kind of notifications, claims, or anything.
No, I didn't get any
your
claims.
videos acted normal and stuff.
Yeah, everything was normal outside of the
Except
typical
Friday.
stuff, yeah.
Friday, my views are like shit, but that's because I put one up at like 7 o'clock last night, and I knew it wasn't gonna get anything because and it's weird stuff. But I mean, well, maybe because I put the Picardist for kids one, and that no, now that one's climbing again too. But I mean, maybe because I had now I'm looking. No, because I had normal, and then it took a couple of days. But
well, here's the thing: you got to
what
understand
day
the
did I do
whole.
his?
There's two separate entities at work here when it comes to COPPA and when it comes to AYT. And one thing I keep trying to tell people, because I read all the cases that are involved in this, all this has to do with clearly, and the line has to do with, is collection of data. And basically, all these people putting up these disclaimers that this is not children's entertainment is not going to do shit if you end up going to court. What you need on that is that whether or not you're signed in to YouTube, it is collecting your data for advertising. That's what you need to say.
The only thing I'm worried about is strictly how the algorithm looks at it.
No. And I know what
Yeah.
you're saying, and that's where I was saying I didn't have any issues with that.
Gotcha.
Well, Tom, you don't really play the
yeah.
algorithm. So as far as like my video views, it looks like Friday they dipped quite a bit, but I also just left a live stream review up instead of.
That'll do it.
I would go more with what Mecca says, because when it comes to our live shows, I very rarely put in any of the tags and all that kind of crap, because I put all the live shows in a playlist and unlist them.
That's
so
that's mostly a good. I like Mecca. I just kept my Picard reviews up, and I mean, they're not even long, and it immediately stops. It's so weird.
Because I think it's because it's the live. Because I usually unlist live streams or just delete them flat. But the ones after I leave them up, then it's kind of slow. Like if I have a high council or something on my channel, then it'll be a little slower for the next couple of days.
Yep. Then it goes back up, and your channel gets used to it. But there is no doubt at all that when you live stream, YouTube does something, because it can't just be people unsubscribing because you go live once in a while. It's got to be something YouTube's doing. I can't figure it out, because there was one time I was getting 1,000. I got 1,000 subs in one day, and I put up a live stream and I got 100 the next day. Then the following day, I got another 1,000. So that was, I mean,
yeah, and it's strange because there's some YouTubers where that's all they do. Like they don't put any videos up; they just live stream. And I don't know how they. I mean, even you, like, kind of beat the algorithm there for so long. It was like, I don't know how he did it other than just your pure your charisma, because there was no way you were playing their game and you still beat the algorithm.
I think you I don't know. I never figured that one out either.
Somebody found
you're knowledgeable, though. I think that's most of it. You're knowledgeable, you're personable, you know your shit, and you're there to please the customer. That's something I need to work. I know I need to work on it, is not getting into it with people on Twitter and not being me, basically not being so disagreeable sometimes. I know that, and I'm working on it. I am, and it's not helping me any. But I think a lot of it is people will like people with decent production values, people with knowledge in the subject matter. Like when I talk about comic-y stuff, I don't try and pretend that I'm an expert in comics. And
I don't either. That's why I wanted Gary or Yellow Flash or some of the other guys on here, because I used to read fucking comics, but I fell out of that shit after the death of Superman.
Yeah,
that's how far back I go.
Star Trek, then I know that, and it's like, okay, yes, I know my shit Star Trek, but even this new stuff, I can't keep it in my head anymore. So I'm like,
you know your pop culture. I mean, that's it. If you come out, you're honest. That's it. If you're honest to say, hey, I don't read comics all the time, but I know pop culture. I've been in pop culture around. It's been your entire life.
Yeah.
So I mean, generally, it's the same. and you know, comics they all have their own little differences, but overall pop culture trends are the same in music and movies and TV and comic books. And it's usually it used to be music that trailblazed everything, and now believe it or not, comic books have become the testing ground for everything. That's where they experiment.
I should take that
you're
back.
all right.
I do have, like, the Death of Superman was the last big thing I remember buying. That's still in the plastic, but I think that Daredevil run I have came after that. It was a 4-issue run, white covers, Daredevil and Elektra, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So that would be the newest actual comic run I ever bought. And then I got of course, I've got like Flashpoint and a few of those, but.
Oh, I thought Flashpoint was ridiculous. I mean, cool alternate universe, but still the concept was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Bad
Fans
idea.
loved it, though. Fans loved it. They did.
Gary,
I don't. There's a lot to love about it. I just can't reconcile the impact, because I'm pretty sure Flash as a character is younger than Batman and Superman. Like,
yes.
Gary Allen. So how can him going back to when his mom was killed and stop that when he's like 10, 11 affect?
Well,
Krypton.
it depends on which
landing in Smallville.
What I like about that is
Barry
the DC movie, the animated movie, did a very good job adapting that idea and simplifying it in a pretty decent way, I thought. At least that was my opinion. The comic book is good, but I think in this case, from my recollection, because it's been a while since I've watched and read it, if I remember right, I think I like the animated movie better.
These animated movies were good for a lot. They had a good long run, but then
I think the last good one was The Dark Knight Returns.
Yep.
But
one,
that's just because part 2 really kind of dumped it for some reason. What were you going to say, Rob? Sorry.
I just want to ask Gary, what was the first comic you remember buying? If you do remember?
I remember it like my first girl, Rob. I do. I Marvel Team Up number 42. I bought it at 7-Eleven in San Marcos, California for 25 cents in 1975. It's the Amazing Spider-Man and Vision, and they are in the time of the 1500s, 1600s, and they're fighting an evil pilgrim with Doctor Doom, and Scarlet Witch eventually comes in, and art by John Byrne.
That's awesome. My brother Dave used to buy a lot of comics, and he interviewed for a job at Charlton back in the day when they were still around as a writer. That was one of the first jobs he ever applied for. Yeah.
I love Charlton books. You'd always get them at the grocery store in where I lived anyway.
I do have Civil War novel, the graphic novel.
Well, they used to be based out in Derby, Connecticut, and they used to have their own printing presses, and the presses started to get old and they started to break down a lot, and they couldn't stay in business anymore. The first comic I bought was G.I. Joe number 33. With the first one I bought with my own money that I didn't get from someone else. It was like 1982. I bought it.
Oh, first bought it with my own money? That'd be different.
Yeah.
That would probably be
G.I. Joe 33. That's early 80s.
I want to say it would have.
When Jim Shooter was.
It would have to be an Archie TMNT or the Bill and Ted run after Bogus Journey, whichever. I know it'd have to be TMNT because they were before that. But I mean, I had a few other things before those, but that was the first one I bought on my own. Because they did an Archie run of Ninja Turtle comics. I'm sure Gary knows what the ones I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
They started off doing a couple episode, just basically they took the script from the episodes, like the Credible Shrinking Turtles and a couple other ones, and then they just spun it off on this weird fucking shit. It was like, I don't know.
God, all this comic talk has been making me want to blow the dust off my collection. I haven't touched it in a while.
I know, mine's over on the shelf, and I was gonna. I showed one stupid reprint of the Ninja Turtles I got laying here because I had some other cooler ones, but they're all over on my shelf, and I'm like, crap, I'm not gonna go get them.
I told Tom this. I have an autograph. It's a fourth printing. I have an autograph issue,
and you better will it to me. That's all I know, because I mean, this was just a reprint here, but.
Of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1, autographed by Kevin Easton.
That's what this is. Yeah, but this is a reprint. So, yeah, it's not a bad reprint. It's black and white, at least. So.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Your head's like floating there now.
That's why all the clothes are muted.
Great.
It's because I messed up the white balance. There we go. I fixed it now, but I don't want to be on camera anyway. Nobody else is, so.
But nobody. But back to comics for a second, though. Nobody at Marvel gets the sense of, oh, hey, this is all going to come crashing down. You said Gail Simone does, because she's probably an adult enough. But I really do want to read the tweets of the day that it all falls apart.
Well, hasn't it already kind of started? Because didn't they call for a truce, Gary, or some bullshit like last week or week before?
They reached out to EVS.
I told this to Andre and he laughed. But anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
And I think it was, I'm paraphrasing here because this is information heard on a live stream, but it was something to the effect of a third party contacting somebody for a conversation, like an olive branch.
Parlay.
Yeah, screw that. I mean, no, not even close to that. And yes, they wanted to calm it down. And then she went right back to it. Listen, they need to, I mean, really, and I made it clear on the Inquisition. I said, I will let her on my channel for 15 minutes, come on and apologize to fans. Sincerely.
Yeah, I was watching that and I agree with you.
And that's what she needs to do. We fans don't need to we don't need to reach out. For one, EVS is a professional, okay, but I'm not. I'm a fan. I was a compro. I'm still a fan. She needs to apologize to me, to Mark C, to you, Tom, to Mecca, to everybody that because being called a snowflake in a safe space and some of the things, being called an SJW is not like being called a Yahtzee. Okay. And that stuff, we make light of it now because we've been called it for so long, but that is a very, I hate to say, it's a hurtful comment. That's something that can cost somebody their job.
Well, it's a powerful stigma.
It is. And to lead with that because you disagree politically on a take in a comic book. And then to do it for so long and just repeat it and repeat it and repeat. And we're still due to this very day. And they don't understand. They don't understand the damage they did to the comic book shops and the people who work at Diamond and the comic book shop employees and the lower level people at Marvel itself who have nothing to do with this. And the same goes for Hollywood, the truck drivers, the key grip, they got nothing to do with Brie Larson popping off or, Kathleen Kennedy popping off, and they don't care. They said, but now they're going to, and they know they don't understand. They think this is all going to go away. They don't understand that this is going to be a different world. We all remember before that famous date in September, and we all remember afterwards. It was a different America we were in that day.
Yeah, I think we got to a point where that's where I think a lot of us are like, what the fuck's going on? Because it seemed like we all kind of put all our petty bullshit aside for a while. Things kind of settled down, and we all kind of got together, and it's like, it was just that thing that everybody just kind of knew that we were all in this together. It didn't matter what color you were. It didn't matter, where you came from originally. If you're here now, this is, the moment, we were all kind of there.
Well, I think what's gonna happen is I think people are really, really going to take all their time at home and being around things that actually matter. And
I hope so. I think you're right, Mecca.
And I think they're going to realize that all these rich asshole celebrities who are out there screaming about fried fish out in their bathroom and telling us to imagine there's a world with no possessions from their closet, which is bigger than my office. Gal Gadot,
Tom Cruise won't come out of my closet.
Yeah,
and don't listen to actors. They need a director to tell them how to do their job. I mean,
exactly.
I really
they were going off script.
I think you're right. And Gary, I think, and you can even try, even if you're one of those listening right now who are one of our hater trolls, and we know there's probably at least 3 or 4 of you out there listening, well, there always is. We won't be dickholes if these people come out and apologize and actually own the shit. We love Joel Schumacher to death for a reason. We still fucking hate Batman and Robin.
Yep.
But we love that guy. Why?
He owned it.
Because he owned it.
Yep.
He owned it. He came out and said, I am so sorry. I did not. Yeah. I didn't mean to do it. Kind
Seemed
of
like a good idea at the time. I was wrong.
I was drunk. We had a little sex. And then next thing you know, bat nipples.
But at least I got to work with Uma Thurman and Arnold Schwarzenegger. And
no, and that's a guy. I was excited when I heard I'm like, the guy who did Falling Down and Lost Boys is directing Batman. Frick, yeah, I was so stoked. I was like, it's gonna turn around, and And
then you realize, he has to direct an Akiva Goldsman Smith script, and on top of that, he has to listen to the studio because they want to focus more on merchandising than on the actual storytelling.
Now, here's the thing: I love Arnold Schwarzenegger. I love Batman. I love pudding. I love fish. I don't mix pudding with fish.
Yeah.
Arnold
Yeah, it wouldn't be
Schwarzenegger
good.
don't fucking belong in Batman.
Unless he's
No.
Killer Croc.
Unless he's either A, Killer Croc, or when you have Bane in the same
Bane.
fucking movie. Why wasn't he Bane? What the hell are you thinking? That was a you want to bring a character because at that time nobody knew who the fuck Bane was.
Bane's an intelligent character. That's the thing.
That's the thing, and Arnold Schwarzenegger would have been perfect for it.
Yep.
Perfect for it. You have a character that nobody knows, so what do? You cast a very well-known actor who embodies basically what that character is. A very intelligent, strong man. Period.
Yep.
That's what, yeah.
Let me just ask one thing.
Oh, I just hit myself in the head constantly and then it's like, who?
No.
And then you cast him as Mr. Freeze. Good job.
No.
Bro, fucking oh.
But I just want to ask Gary though. I mean, you said they reached out to Ethan Van Sciver. And you probably know more about this than I do. What was the attitude of people in the industry when they saw what Ethan had did with Cyberfrog? I mean, was it dismissed? What was the reverberation? And with Jawbreakers from Richard Meyer.
They've been minimizing them since they began. I remember when Ethan first got in trouble with the Sinestro thing. I remember hearing that at the shop and what was going around, and most customers laughed at it. By the way, your average customer in San Francisco thought it was just a joke and it was funny. People loved EVS and they loved his art and they bought his stuff. You know, like he was a premier artist. Like when he was on a book and people wanted it. But the general sentiment is jealousy, and they always try to minimize it. And they keep saying that, you know, because what those guys are doing off of Kickstarter, and you know, because they Kickstarter wouldn't have let them on at all. What is pioneering? They are pioneering things, and what the industry is doing. They didn't pioneer crowdfund. People were doing it beforehand, but they weren't doing it. They were doing it based on their name which was behind another character like Batman or Spider-Man with a big giant company behind them. These are individuals who went out on their own with YouTube channels that they built by themselves and created their own community based on their personality and their ability to review comics and connect with people, and started their own little cottage industry. And you can't minimize that. That's a real thing. And the fact that the comic shop retailers are now acknowledging that, the fact they were trying to ignore it forever. And a lot of the comic shop owners, they hold a lot of responsibility in this. They sided with the artists and the companies, and not the customers in this. They weren't looking out for the customers because they agreed with them politically. You could agree with somebody politically, and they could still be assholes, and they could still be ruining an industry. Whether it's politics you agree with or not, you really need to step outside of yourself, especially when it comes to business and pleasing everyone. And that's the key to customer service. And you think shop owners of all people would know that, but they didn't say anything. The ones that I know, there's ones out there who didn't agree with what was going on. They still sat on their hands, and look what happens when you don't say anything. Nothing changes. So these guys go out on their own, but so it's jealousy, basically what you see from, especially now. Like now their wheels are turning. They're like, oh, we should get a YouTube channel. Problem is you can't just fire up a YouTube channel. You have to have something to get, it's an accomplishment to get 10,000 subscribers.
Sticking your toe in the wrong pond.
Yeah. Come on. Oh, I welcome them. Please come over. Please.
Well, some of them might start off pretty popular just on their name right away, but they won't maintain a growth or anything afterwards.
Nope. I mean, have you seen the Gail Simone videos? This shit deserves to be mocked.
Yep.
I mean, there's nothing in this world that I giggle at more when I see these guys like Ethan and them playing these videos of her talking down to us like we're nothing but little children. Congratulations, you have graduated your comic book class and blah, blah, blah.
Hi, kids. Yeah, Ethan and Richard both pointed that out, that they always start out with hi, kids. Hey, kids, come over here. Like they're in preschool class.
I eat babies.
Yeah. It's probably true.
Could be.
Could be.
I remember one of the best videos Ethan ever did was he was waiting in an airport.
Oh, hey, baby.
It had the bartender
Sorry,
making a
I'm
rose teacup.
baby back ribs.
We make a deal. You keep your money and I'll take your baby.
Yeah, baby. I freaking love Austin Powers so much.
The second one and the first one, yeah. The third one,
Yes.
not so much.
No, not so much. Although
Yeah.
it's got I love
It's got
gold.
moments, but
Yeah, it's got some moments, but it
No,
didn't live up.
in
First one's the
Rob and I's
best.
in Rob and I's Austin Powers 4, we have to make Dr. Evil and Austin Powers villain and
Hey.
hero again. We can't. No, they can't
Back
be just
me up
brothers
on
and be
this. You're
friends.
the video guy, Tom. Both those sequels, The Matrix. The Matrix did pretty good in the theater, but those were hits on DVD. Those were especially Austin Powers. It was not a hit in the
Yeah,
theater.
the first two,
Yeah.
because they both went up against Star Wars Episode 1, if I remember right.
Yeah,
Or was it? No, that was
it was
Austin
earlier
Powers
than
2.
that.
Matrix was 99.
But Matrix,
Austin Powers went up against
Matrix
Star
came
Wars.
out right around the same time as Star Wars, and Austin Powers 2 did as well, because I remember I couldn't get into Episode 1, so we ended up going and seeing Austin Powers for like the second time.
Matrix did decent in the theater, but it like destroyed
Yeah, it found its
on DVD.
Yeah,
Like,
it found its home on DVD big time. It became the highest selling DVD for years.
and
until,
Austin
like,
Powers was a flop. It was close to a flop in the theater.
But video is one of the
But
few
video,
times that saved that. Yeah.
Actually, I remember when they got their first window on the movie network and all those things, and that's where it kind of really blew up because people were seeing it, and then they went out to buy it on DVD, and then they got financing to make a sequel because of those numbers were so high.
And it's funny because I plan on having a conversation about some of the shit with R&B real soon. But Austin Powers, the first one, came out right on the cusp of the beginning of DVD starting to come in. So it was one of those few titles where you could get it on DVD and buy it, but you can only get it for rental price for the longest time. And I found some people trying to call bullshit on one of our videos on there. It's like, no, that's not how it worked. Trust me. I had to pay $90 fucking to get Hannibal in the door. Trust me. But the DVD was only $20.
Hey, I go way back. So I remember when VHS was when you had to buy it was like $100, and I remember Star Trek II being one of the first, not the first. I don't think it was the first, but it was one of the first that was $20.
Yep.
It was cheap, and that's why. I mean, Wrath of Khan's a classic movie, but that's why so many kids at that age saw it because it was a cheap.
Well, Paramount tried that for a couple of years. See, Disney was one of the few companies at that point. Most people misinterpret and say, "Oh, Top Gun was the first sell-through." It's like, no, that's not true. Top Gun may have been the first run sell-through as far as a live action film, but Disney owned that crown for years, and other movies obviously had been selling through before that. Because the first one to ever come out and sell through video was Pinocchio in 1982. And then Paramount started a couple years later, started experimenting around Christmas time with releasing, and I think that's where the Wrath of Khan came in. They released Popeye, and a couple other movies, and then Columbia tried the same thing a couple years later with around the same time with Annie and a couple other movies, and that's when they started realizing, oh, people will buy these, and then they started doing. But yeah, originally, like when Star Wars came out, the video stores would quote unquote lose or get damaged. And what it would be was people would keep them, or they would actually just buy them flat out from the video store, and the video store would just mark it down that way because they were at that time, the government and everything was up their ass so hard about it because, though you didn't technically own those tapes when you get them in the video store, they would say right on them, rental copy. This is the property of 20th Century Fox Films, blah blah blah, all this FBI bullshit on there. And if they said we want our tape back, you had to send it back. And we had the same rules all the way up through when I had the store too. Like if a studio called and said they wanted this video off of production and you're supposed to send it back, you're supposed to.
Yeah, they were freaked out. I mean, they recording TV, and once the cat got out of the bag though, and then was it Spielberg and Lucas tried to do that again with DivX?
DivX was the dumbest move ever. That was almost a format war that never happened because it was just dead on arrival.
Wasn't that the one where it only like lasted 4 plays or something?
Or it was 48 hours or whatever. Yeah, it was made with an oxidized plastic, and it was sealed. So like when you would open it, it was supposed to last up to 48 hours or whatever. But some people would have less, some people would more. And basically all it was, it would just cloud up and your machine wouldn't be able to read it anymore.
Doesn't sound safe.
No, it was pretty stupid.
Sounds like cancer to me.
And then not only that, if like you accidentally buy one from the store that had just a little bit of a hole in the plastic, it would be shit, and you had all kinds of problems with it from the start. It was dumb.
Only George Lucas, man.
Well, and it was control. It was control. It was all about the control.
Artificial scarcity.
But I suppose we should probably wrap this up here soon. I know I want to thank Gary for taking the time, because I know you're a very, very, very busy man, and for you to come in for as long as you did here is a big deal for us, and we appreciate that very much, especially to get your point of view on this specific subject alone. But yeah, I think the comic industry is on its last leg. I think we've kind of come to that conclusion. But yeah, Gary, anything you got coming up? I know we gave you a few shout outs in one of our recent videos too, as far as that goes.
Dude, thank you so much for doing that. And yeah, I'll say again, I mean, just subscribe to these guys right here, please. These Midnight's Edge is an inspiration for my channel, and that's no joke. That they were one of the first channels I subscribed to as far as pop culture was concerned. They were the first. I was just jumping on YouTube for UFOs and stuff, but
kitty videos.
Yeah, I remember that opening, the bass line, yeah. So please subscribe here, and Picard reviews coming out someday.
There you go. So look forward to that as well. But yeah, no, I'm glad, and of course Gary's one of my longtime friends here on YouTube so far at this point, and I'm glad to have him as a friend and a comrade in this war against the shitty pop culture bullshit they try to throw at us. So I'm so glad to have you here, and have you here at Midnight's Edge in general. So yeah,
thanks,
you know what I mean, not to get all mushy and all that kind of stuff. And then we got Rob.
Mario.
No, I just got to give him shit. Mario. But yeah, so check out Nerdrotic, of course, if you haven't already. Check out Script Doctor's channel. You got anything coming up, Script Doctor?
Yeah, I'm just kind of refining my Picard review script. It's 80 pages long, so I'm not going to record all that, because that's a book. Yeah, I don't want to do a 6-hour video on Picard.
You can put that on Amazon.
Yeah, but I'm just going to refine it to the bare essentials and do some recording.
What the fuck do you think you are, Mahler?
Oh, I could do Mahler stuff. I've seen. I could do a Mahler stuff easy.
I don't know how you do a short review on Picard. Honestly, like Drinker did a fucking nailed it, man. I mean, just absolutely nailed it. But yeah, I don't know how you do it, a short review on this. There's too many dumb things you can't pass up.
There's a lot of dumb things. I just look for the stuff that I haven't seen on other people commenting on Twitter or YouTube, and then I'll just do that, because I might as well fill in the gaps of what everybody else has talked about. But yeah, be working on that for the next couple days. And yeah, you can check me out here with Midnight's Edge After Dark, Midnight's Edge, and various other streams. If you want to DM me to talk, anyone out there, just go ahead. They're open. I'm cool with that.
All right. I guess we got some weird news here. Clownfish TV are having lots of trouble live streaming tonight. Double Streamed had their live stream taken down by YouTube. Weird.
They've been ghosting lately. As a matter of fact, your high
got
council...
a community strike for something, evidently.
Oh, did they show something?
Uh-oh. Well, I don't know the specifics unless you guys can tell us. Yeah. But of course, we got their back if they need us. So
yeah, I mean,
let us know.
Yeah. Tell Clownfish anything they need. That's crazy. Yeah, your last high council got ghosted, guys.
But yeah, I told Jeff that too. But yeah, speaking of high council, the week before it was on Mecca's channel. Mecca, tell them about your channel and if you got anything coming up here real quick.
I have a channel sometime this weekend. I don't know if it's going to be tonight or tomorrow. I was going to do a singing, drinking stream or something, maybe.
Awesome.
No promises. I want to do maybe gaming too, like weekendy stuff. Yeah, I'm trying to do more streaming, but I know that kills a channel. So, but I know that like there's a lot of people home who
evidently they got mass flagged for something. What were they talking about at the time? Sorry, Mecca.
It's all right. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, I got videos and stuff. Go watch them.
You were talking about gaming and stuff. I know you do Jackboxing, but there was that other new game you and Rob discovered too. You were talking about.
Oh, Insult Sim. Yeah, we might stream that sometime.
Oh, sir. Yeah. They have a Hollywood edition. Arnold Schwarzenegger is one of the characters.
I'm one of the characters. That's amazing.
Your last movie got got canceled when it was exposed to your stunt double, and he hasn't even seen my movies.
What are you talking about?
That's
I
how
got the coronavirus, and now the virus is in quarantine
the
for 6
tumor.
months. It's not a tumor. Put the cookie down.
Who's your daddy, and what does he do?
He does a lot for me. What does he do for you?
Kindergarten
You
cops.
son of a bitch.
Yeah, the other one's basically the Monty Python simulator sort of thing. They just take like random lines that are Monty Python or Monty Python inspired.
And
Run away.
And one of the settings is actually a pet shop with a dead parrot.
Oh God, this parrot is clearly dead.
Yeah.
Speaking of Monty Python, I sent you that for your birthday, didn't I?
Me?
Yeah, that was your birthday. Was that your birthday, Rob, or was that the other thing? I can't remember. I sent it for you something.
Yeah, the Norwegian Blu-ray edition. Yeah. Yes.
I finally got one that's not destroyed.
I still got your George Carlin thing.
Yeah, I got it. That reminds me. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. That's cool. So yeah. So what else is up? Anything?
That unless Mecca wants it, I'll just have you send it to her, give it to her, and I'll just pay for it.
Of course.
I like stuff.
It's the complete Carlin.
Oh yeah, there's
The
a few
DVDs.
from my little David set that.
It's the DVDs, but
Oh, I don't have any DVDs. I don't have anything.
It's all his video stuff. It even has like his old what college was it that he shot that at, Rob?
Well,
The one where he had Chris Christopherson and BB King and shit playing with him, and like his first original special he ever did.
Yeah. Oh,
Berkeley, wasn't it? Or
no. Carlin's in New York. He was a New York guy.
what the fuck? What college was he playing at then? At that one, it was actually at a college, and he's like outside and shit. I'd never seen that before I got this box set. That, and they even got young Carlin when he's on like a bunch of talk shows and shit too. There's all kinds of cool shit on there, plus all his HBO specials and everything. I can't remember what college he was playing at then. It's on that bonus disc. Anyway, we're going off the rails here. So, and Gary's just like, shut the fuck up, Tom. I gotta go. I got shit to do.
I'm chilling, man. I'm chilling.
But right yeah, if Mecca wants that, we'll discuss that. I can just have you send it to her, take it to her, or whatever. I ain't gonna worry too much about it otherwise at this point. I don't even think Amazon's that worried about it at this point. Because it was supposed to come to me because my second disc has like a ring around it and the case is kind of crushed. So they're supposed to send me a replacement and they accidentally send it to you instead of me. So, or I accidentally picked the wrong one, picked the one I sent you instead of me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know.
Anyhow, so check out Gary at Nerdotic, check out Script Doctor at Script Doctor, check out Mecca at Mecca Random, Robot Shlomo at Robot Shlomo, and Midnight's Edge at Midnight's Edge After Dark. And that's the same place you can find me as well, as far as the latter two. Or wait, have I ever showed up on Robot Shlomo?
Maybe.
I have.
Understood.
I don't know.
Of course.
Maybe you should go over there and find out. Till then, Rob, I need some music.
No, sir.
Well, then you're fired.
All right, hang on a second. Let me get the right music.